Tensions in Birganj end following all-party consensus. Curfew lifted after 5-point agreement among protest groups. Nepal's Election Commission begins printing sample ballots for March 5 election. Around 1 million sample ballots to be printed in first phase. Files of more than 10,000 cases at Supreme Court burnt during Gen Z movement recovered. Activities underway to collect those cases. Armed police patrol streets of Venezuela's capital. Dozens of military checkpoints installed across the city. Thailand accuses Cambodia of violating a 10-day-old truce, saying cross-border mortar fire wounded a soldier. And Chelsea confirms Liam Rose Sr. as their new manager on a 6-year contract, says the focus will continue to be on player development. Hello there, I am Ipralagi Singh Lama and this is NTV World Primetime News coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Across the globe, it's 1:15 p.m. in London, 10:15 p.m. in Tokyo and just after midnight in Sydney. Now the news in details. The curfew in Birganj imposed since Sunday has been lifted after a 5-point agreement among protesting groups. Life has returned to normal with vehicles running and markets reopened. The consensus reached following tensions over mosque vandalism in Dhanusa and social media-driven violence includes commitments to avoid protests over incidents elsewhere without prior permission and submission of a memorandum to the chief district officer. A permanent mechanism will also be formed to prevent activities disrupting religious and social harmony, including representatives from political parties, religious communities, civil society and the media. The agreement was reached in an all-party meeting attended by local officials, security heads and community leaders. Now, the Election Commission has started printing sample ballots from today for the House of Representatives election scheduled to be held on March 5. According to the Commission, the printing of sample ballots for the proportional representation system has begun after completing all necessary preparations. The sample ballots are being printed at the Janak Education Materials Center in Bhaktapur. The center informed that the printing of sample ballots will be completed within 2 days, after which the printing of actual proportional representation ballot paper will begin. In the first phase, printing has begun for around 1 million sample ballots and 20.85 million proportional representation ballots as determined by the Election Commission. It follows the practice of printing about 10% more ballots than the total number of registered voters. The Election Commission has set a target to complete the printing of all ballots by January 23rd. Now, CPN-UML has given party chair KP Sharma Oli the responsibility to finalize candidates for the National Assembly elections. The decision made at a secretariat meeting follows coordination with Nepali Congress, Nepal Communist Party and JSP Nepal, with the party claiming 7 seats, 1 from each province. The meeting also formed a manifesto drafting committee led by Oli and an election mobilization committee under Vice Chair Ram Bahadur Thapa, while assigning elections responsibilities to all party office bearers. Oli claimed that the government and some foreign forces are trying to delay elections and alleged pressure on Supreme Court justices is threatening democratic norms. Moving on, a massive fire broke out at a timber warehouse in Goirigao, Kathmandu. The warehouse operated by Ishwar Karki caught fire and the flames spread to cause damage to the nearby Loyola school. Firefighters from Kathmandu, Lalitpur, Bhaktapur as well as the airport and security agencies used water tankers to bring the fire under control. Additionally, the Nepal Army, Armed Police Force, Nepal Police and Municipal Police of Kathmandu were deployed to contain the blaze. Ramesh Thapa, Senior Superintendent of Police and Chief of the District Police Office, Kathmandu, stated that the fire started from the timber warehouse and also caused damage to a nearby school. The cause of the fire and the full extent of the damage are yet to be determined. Files of more than 10,000 cases that were burnt at Supreme Court during Gen Z movement have been recovered. Out of 24,000 case files at SC, 20,000 case files were burnt in the arson attack took place during the Gen Z movement on September 8 and 9, 2025. Supreme Court spokesperson Nirajan Pandey said files of 10,340 cases have been recovered till January 5. The Apex Court has urged the Office of the Attorney General, Nepal Bar Association and with the parties to concerned cases to provide files of the cases which were destroyed. Activities are underway to collect the files of those cases from the Office of the Attorney General, Nepal Bar Association and with the parties to concerned cases accordingly. We'll take a short break here. More news coming up. You're watching NTV World. Welcome back to Primetime News. Now, Health Minister Dr. Sudha Sharma visited the Shahid Gangalal National Heart Centre and Kanti Children's Hospital to monitor hospital operations. She reviewed staff management, patient care, medical equipment, infrastructure and challenges in implementing the health insurance program. Prioritizing patient management and healthcare worker safety, Dr. Sharma listened to staff concerns and pledged full support from the ministry to resolve any issues affecting hospital services. Even 8 years after construction began, the Integrated Customs Office at Raswagadi border in northern Nepal remains incomplete. The 540.55 million rupees project started in 2074 BS with a 3-year deadline is still less than 80% finished, forcing passenger checks to be conducted from temporary sheds. Chief Customs Officer Tulsi Prasad Bhattrai said the delay has disrupted service delivery, while locals blame the extremely slow pace of construction. The ancestral occupation of the boat community transporting stones and fishing in the Kali Gandaki River is under serious threat. With the construction of bridges across the river, stone transportation has stopped, and due to water pollution, fish have also disappeared, cutting off their main source of income. The community, which lacks other skills besides stone transportation and fishing, is now struggling to find employment. Some members say they face daily uncertainty over what they will eat in the morning and the evening. Children and elderly people are suffering more due to the cold as they lack warm housing. 32 families in Dailatung and 80 in Darpuk are still living in tin-roofed huts surrounded by bamboo structures. The community, which has long lived along the banks of the Kali Gandaki River, says the entire community is in crisis due to the lack of stable employment and a permanent source of income. Time now for a short break. We'll see you with global updates on the other side. Welcome back. Armed police are seen patrolling the streets of Venezuela's capital, Caracas. President Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores were seized from their Caracas compound on Saturday and flown to the U.S. as part of a special forces operations. Meanwhile, demonstrators rally in the streets of Caracas demanding the release of deposed President Nicolas Maduro after his capture by U.S. forces and to show their support for the inauguration of a new legislative year in Venezuela. Delcy Rodriguez, who was Maduro's vice president, has been sworn in as the country's interim president, and her brother, Jose Rodriguez, is re-elected as the parliament head. Meanwhile, Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado says the arrest of Nicolas Maduro is a huge step for humanity, for freedom and human dignity. Speaking to Fox News hours after Maduro appeared in a New York court, Nobel Peace Prize laureate Machado says she is grateful for U.S. President Donald Trump's actions.
January 3rd will go down in history as the day justice defeated a tyranny. It's a milestone, and it's not only huge for the Venezuelan people and our future. I think it's a huge step for humanity, for freedom and human dignity. I spoke with President Trump on October 10th, the same day the prize was announced. Not since then, but I do want to say today, on behalf of the Venezuelan people, how grateful we are for his courageous vision, the actions, historical actions he has taken against this narco-terrorist regime to start dismantling this structure and bringing Maduro to justice, which means that 30 million Venezuelans are now closer to freedom, but also that the United States of America is a safer country nowadays.
Maria had left Venezuela last month to accept the Nobel Peace Prize for her fight against what the Norwegian Nobel Committee called a dictatorship. She hasn't returned since. Now, moving on, Thailand accused Cambodia of violating a 10-day-old truce on Tuesday, saying cross-border mortar fire wounded a soldier, while Phnom Penh said a pile of garbage exploded, injuring two of its own troops. A decades-old border dispute between the Southeast Asian nations erupted into military clashes several times last year, with fighting in December killing dozens of people and displacing around 1 million on both sides. The two countries agreed a fragile truce on December 27, ending 3 weeks of clashes. The Thai military said it warned Cambodian forces to exercise caution, stressing if a similar incident occurred, Thailand may need to retaliate. Cambodia's Defense Ministry spokesperson Mali Sochieta said 2 soldiers were injured, one severely this morning in Cambodia's Phra Vihear province, which sits opposite Thailand's Ubon Ratchathani. Now, French President Emmanuel Macron is hosting Ukraine's leader Volodymyr Zelensky and other key allies of the country as efforts intensify to agree security guarantees for Kyiv in the event of a ceasefire with Russia. Heads of state and top officials from more than 30 countries, part of the so-called coalition of the willing, are taking part, including U.S. mediators in peace talks, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, President Donald Trump's son-in-law. Zelensky met Trump recently and said his plan to end the war with Russia was 90% agreed. However, the proposals have yet to be presented to Russia, whose response so far has been far from encouraging. Now, around 50 farmers from the Coordination Rural Union blocked road access, setting 2 large fires of tires and branches to draw attention to their grievances. The protesters cited the increasing constraints on agriculture and the perceived inaction of politicians as the main reasons for their demonstration. Yannick Borden, president of the Marche Coordination Rural Union, stated the farmers would remain on the motorway until the police and riot police force them to leave. Authorities have deployed police and riot control units to monitor the situation and manage traffic disruptions. Local officials urge motorists to seek alternative routes while the protest continues. The demonstration highlights ongoing tensions between farmers and the government over agricultural policies, regulations and economic pressures affecting rural communities. We're going for a short break. Stay tuned. Global food giant Nestlé is recalling certain batches of its SMA, BEBA and NAN infant formula across several European countries over the potential presence of a toxin that could cause nausea, vomiting and abdominal cramps. The recall affecting Austria, Denmark, Finland, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Switzerland and the UK follows a quality issue detected in an ingredient supply to the company. Nestlé said no illnesses have been reported so far and testing is underway for all potentially affected products. Meanwhile, NVIDIA unveiled its latest artificial intelligence platform on Monday, aiming to maintain its leadership in supplying the high-performance chips driving the global AI industry. The company, currently the world's most valuable by market capitalization, showcased the new Vera chip at the annual Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang described the chip as a major advancement, highlighting improvements in single-threaded performance, memory capacity and overall processing power. The new platform is expected to support more complex AI models and applications, reinforcing NVIDIA's position in the competitive AI hardware market. Fireworks and a large-scale drone display illuminated the night sky over massive ice sculptures on Monday as China opened its annual Harbin Ice and Snow Festival in the northeastern province of Heilongjiang. Thousands of domestic and international tourists attended the opening night to view the illuminated ice structures, which are constructed from blocks of ice harvested from the nearby Songhua River. The festival, one of China's largest winter tourism events, features ice and snow sculptures, light installations and winter-themed activities. Local authorities said the festival is expected to attract millions of visitors during the winter season, boosting tourism and related services in the region. Organizers said safety measures including temperature monitoring and crowd management have been put in place to ensure a smooth experience for visitors. The festival will run through February, featuring nightly light shows, ice slides and cultural performances. Time for sports update. Chelsea has confirmed Liam Rose Sr. as the new manager on a 6-year contract. The club says the focus will continue to be on player development and expectations and ambitions remain high. Rose Sr. meanwhile said to be entrusted with this role means the world to him and he will give everything to bring success to the club.
This for me is a club I will love for the rest of my life, that I will want to do well for the rest of my life. But this opportunity for me is something that I cannot turn down at this moment in my life for many reasons. One, it's an unbelievable opportunity, an unbelievable club who are Club World Cup champions with an incredible squad, an incredible fan base. Secondly, it means I can go home and see my kids. I'm away from my children. I've missed them and I wanted to make the sacrifice of not seeing them worth it with the success that we have here.
Aryna Sabalenka defended her Battle of the Sexes match against Nick Kyrgios after she opened her 2026 season with a 47-minute victory against Kristina Bugska. Women's world number one Sabalenka lost 6-3, 6-3 to Kyrgyz in a much publicized exhibition match in Dubai last month. Belarusian Sabalenka, a four-time major winner, said it helped her fitness after she swept aside Spain's Buxka, ranked 28th in the world, 6-0, 6-1 in the second round of the Brisbane International. The match was widely criticized, with the Wimbledon champion Swiatek saying this week that it did not have anything to do with social change, following the original battle of the sexes between Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs in 1973. But Sabalenka said the match brought so many eyes on tennis. Now, before wrapping up, here's a look into the top stories once again. Tensions in Birgunj end following all-party consensus. Curfew lifted after 5-point agreement among protest groups. Nepal's Election Commission begins printing sample ballots for March 5 election, around 1 million sample ballots to be printed in the first phase. Files of more than 10,000 cases at Supreme Court burnt during Gen Z movement recovered, activities underway to collect those cases. Armed police patrol streets of Venezuela's capital, dozens of military checkpoints installed across the city. Thailand accuses Cambodia of violating a 10-day-old truce, saying cross-border mortar fire wounded a soldier. And Chelsea confirms Liam Rose Sr. as their new manager on a 6-year contract, says the focus will continue to be on player development. That is all for the moment. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. Do join us through our social media and get the latest updates from our official website www.nepaltelevision.com. I am Ipulagi Singh Lama. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu. Public Service Broadcasting, PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World, facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries. Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World. Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands. Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
These hills and valleys are witnesses to change. They hold countless dreams and the aspirations of a prosperous nation. Beneath their natural beauty lies a deeper reality, a true portrait of life. Here, the geography is visible, but the emotions are heard. Our effort is to bring closer the landscape and sentiments of Rukum West, a region filled with dreams, possibilities and determination. Since the Mid-Hill Highway connected Rukum, it has played a vital role in local development. It has helped market local produce, boosted livelihoods and employment, and promoted the region's stunning nature, languages, arts and culture. Many older residents never imagined a road passing near their homes or ever riding in a vehicle. Now, as cars glide smoothly over these hills and ridges, their joy is unmistakable. As we pass through the villages of Rukum, we encounter countless stories of hope and trust. Signs of development are increasingly visible at the local level. Vehicles now travel on blacktop roads, and improved access to technology has made rural life more dynamic. Whether it is Sankha in Musikot municipality or Rimna Dobhan in Sani Bheri rural municipality, these communities not only reflect the natural beauty of Rukum West, but also narrate inspiring stories of transformation. Rukum is a district shaped by a decade-long armed conflict. During those years, it stood at the center of national attention. Yet after the peace process, its development trajectory has steadily risen. Improvements in roads, political awareness, education and healthcare have all played a crucial role in this progress. In the remote terrains, the natural beauty is inseparable from the faces of the people who live here. Expressions of longing, eyes searching for their children, and the countless struggles behind their simple dreams all resonate deeply. Despite stories of positive change, the migration of many young people abroad remains a pressing concern. A district rich in nature and culture now faces the challenge of a shrinking youth population, which limits its potential for prosperity. Traveling this road, crossing rivers, climbing hills, and enjoying the northern Himalayan views is a unique experience. From the lowlands of Jaurdhari, along the banks of Bheri River, through Ramni Dobhan to the district headquarters in Khalanga and onward through the scenic settlement of Sankha into eastern Rukum, the journey is breathtaking. Yet, this land is still searching for its youth so that its beauty can be tied to prosperity. Here in this rugged terrain, the reality is visible and the emotions you hear are true. A reflection of biodiversity along with nature and culture. A view of the silver-like shining mountain range right before your eyes. A chronicle of the rituals and traditions of Kirati people from creation to civilization and the present day. A unique tourist trail in Nepal filled with natural beauty, the Mundum Trail. Mundum Trail is a uniquely identified trekking route in Nepal filled with natural beauty. The trail is an excellent tourist destination for trekkers who want to enjoy the culture and traditions of various ethnic groups while observing natural beauty. The Mundum Trail was identified as a new trekking route with the aim of promoting tourism in Khotang, Bhojpur, Sankhua Sabha and Solukhumbu regions of eastern Nepal. The specialty of the Mundum Trail is trekking while observing the tall mountain ranges, high hills and beautiful views of the flat plains of Tarai. Since it is connected to the culture of the Kirati people, this trail is named after the Mundum rites of Kirat Rais. Various structures reflecting the culture and traditions of the Kirat Rais built around the trail. Large grassy meadows and yaks and sheep herds raised by local herdsmen highlight the speciality of the trek. Dishes reflecting the identity of ethnic groups like Kirat Rai, Sherpa, Tamang and others, local organic food produced by herdsmen, various types of vegetation and precious herbs can be found during the Mundum trek. The trail is a total of 107 kilometers long. Both domestic and international visitors say the rivers originating from Mahabharat mountain range, forests covered in rhododendrons, rare and endangered wildlife and plants, and animal husbandry by hard-working farmers captivates their hearts. The Mundum Trail, where one can trek through the hills with the world's highest peak, Mount Everest, at its head, is a precious gift from nature. It's a trek where one can escape the heat of the Tarai, enjoy natural beauty, reveling in the sweet sounds of birds and connecting with endangered plants, making the experience all unique. As there is heavy snowfall in winter, the number of tourists trekking and playing in the snow along the Mundum Trail witnesses a surge every season. The Mundum Trail is connected to religion, culture, rituals and lifestyle of entire Kirat community. Mundum itself means the Kirat culture, rituals and the daily life of Kirati people or Kirat knowledge. And the concept of Mundum Trail is also about introducing the culture, lifestyle and history of the Kirati people to the world, familiarizing them with the community. The journey along the trail, which spreads through uphills and downhills, offers close-up views of more than 24 beautiful mountain ranges. That includes Nuptse, Everest, Lhotse, Makalu, Kanchenjunga and Kumbhakarna. They all delight every traveller. The Mundum trek starts from Dawa Bhanjang in Diktel, Sakaila rural municipality of Khotang, and Bhojpur Bazar in Bhojpur. Most tourists start their journey on this trail from Chakhewa Bhanjang in Temki rural municipality, Bhojpur. The trek starting from Chakhewa Bhanjang is a gift of biodiversity, culture and nature. The trail is also a tourist area listed among the 100 must-visit destinations selected by the government of Nepal. Temke Dada is an excellent tourist destination near the starting point of the Mundum Trail. It lies on the border of Bhojpur and Khotang. It is located at an altitude of about 3,032 meters above sea level and is a flat plateau on top of a single hill. The history of Temke Dada is also linked to Kirati civilization. Temke Dada is a habitat for various species of trees like jamb, rhododendron and chimal, as well as endangered wildlife such as red panda, ghorol and thar. Various places in Koshi province can be clearly seen from Temke Dada. From here, one can have a panoramic view of dozens of mountain ranges, including the world's highest peak, Mount Everest, Makalu, Kanchenjunga and Gauri Shankar. Apart from that, from Temke Dada, one can watch the sunrise and sunset. And when the weather is clear, one can even see the cities of Sikkim, Darjeeling, Kalimpong, Siliguri in India and cities in Bhutan. The Kirati people perform special worship on full moons of Baisakh. In this area, precious herbs, locally called Chiraito, Majito, Thulo Okhete, Pakhanbed, Nagbeli, Ban Karela, Muse Karela and Satua are found in abundance. Another major attraction of Temke Dada is the rhododendron. During blooming season, the forest in this area becomes vibrant red with fully bloomed flowers. After a hike and exploration of Temke Hill, surrounded by beautiful nature, one reaches Dhotre Deorali in about 6 hours. During the journey to Dhotre, trekkers enjoy nature's embrace, marvel at various rock formations and relish the trek while connecting with the high hills. At Dhotre Deorali, there are arrangements for food and lodging for tourists. Leaving Dhotre and moving forward on the trek, various structures have been built targeting the culture and traditions of Kirati people to attract tourists. The Mundum Trail's construction began with a 35% investment from Koshi provincial government, 35% from Swiss government and 30% from the local government. Along this entire trail, rest stops, drinking water taps and stone platforms have been built for tourists. 15 ponds in the shape of a chindo, which is a traditional Rai vessel reflecting Kirat Rai culture, have also been constructed. This is a place where shamans have walked, a place of tantric power and an extremely scenic area. Mundum is the name of a Kirat scripture. The trail is named after this sacred name. This trail, which integrates various aspects of Kirati civilization, culture, history and life from Silichung to Mayung and then to Temke, and from Temke to Kualung and Tuachung, proceeds along the ridge of Mahabharat mountain range. Another special beauty of the Mundum Trail is Has Pokhri. Located at an altitude of 3,333 meters above sea level, Has Pokhri is a special destination that should not be missed during the trek. At the edge of Has Pokhri, a statue of Sumnima and Paruhang has been erected. According to Kirat Mundum, Sumnima and Paruhang are the creators of this universe. the gentle fragrance of various species of flowers blooming in the grassy meadows captivates every tourist visiting Khas Pokhari. The rhododendrons that bloom in season in the Khas Pokhari area make one feel like staying in the vicinity of the pond forever. During their journey to Khas Pokhari, travelers can observe at least 16 species of rhododendrons that bloom during the spring season. Another important destination of the Mundum Trail is Mayung Dada. Located in Temke Mayung Rural Municipality of Bhojpur, Mayung Dada is a beautiful place with tourism potential. The journey to Mayung Dada, which is at an altitude of about 3,600 meters above sea level, takes place through the middle of a very smooth meadow. During this journey, any tourist with the melodious sound of music wishes to be immersed in the glory of beautiful nature, even if for a short while. The Mayung area is also a special observation point for horses. The attraction of horses roaming freely under the open sky is another unmissable feature of Mayung Dada. The Mayung area, which is connected to the neighboring district of Khotang, has a balanced climate, not as cold as the Himalayas, nor as hot as the Tarai. The Mayung area is also a habitat for the globally endangered red panda. During the Mayung journey, adorned with biodiversity and nature, one can enjoy the rhododendrons that bloom vibrantly across the hillsides in the spring. One can sit on various mystical hills and move forward with the cool breeze, mountain views, and by cherishing the natural beauty in their heart and soul. The blooming chap, rhododendron and sunakhari flowers in the months of Falgun, Chaitra and Baisakh captivate the hearts of tourists. The ever-changing weather and the view of the mountain range right before the eyes can make one feel a heavenly bliss on earth when one steps on Mayung Dada. From Mayung Dada, most of the hilly districts of eastern Nepal as well as the high hill plains and villages of Nepal and India look as if they are in the palm of one's hand, making one want to keep watching. When the crimson rays of early morning sun touch the mountains on the other side, the joy of kissing the heights is immeasurable. From Mayung Dada, one can also view more than 24 beautiful Himalayan peaks. This includes Charpate, Mera Peak, Nuptse, Everest, Lhotse, Lhotse Sar, Makalu, Kanchenjunga and Kumbhakarna. Travelers say is less tiring and also does not give one altitude sickness. The trail located in the Mayung region is considered excellent, given the Laliguras trail of the TMJ region or the Tinjure, Milke, Jaljale area and the Khapta trail of the west. On the Mundum Trek, after passing through Chakhewa Bhanjang, Mayung Dada, Khas Pokhari, Satobato, Laure Bhir, Rawathap, and Salpa Bhanjang, on the fourth day of the journey, one reaches the famous pilgrimage site Salpa Pokhari. Salpa Pokhari is situated at an altitude of 3,400 meters above sea level and is considered by the Kirati people as their ancestral place of origin. Kirati people hold a belief that one must visit Salpa Pokhari at least once in their lifetime. Hence, during Udholi and Ubholi full moons, many pilgrims visit Salpa Pokhari, a place filled with religious faith and natural beauty. Salpa Pokhari, known as the confluence of 4 districts, Khotang, Solukhumbu, Bhojpur and Sankhwa Sabha, is a place of natural beauty. Salpa Pokhari is located in Dobhani village of Salpa Silichung rural municipality in Bhojpur. It can be reached via the Mundum Trail, passing through Dikdel in Khotang, Lal Kharka and Mayung Dada. However, there are other routes to reach Salpa Pokuri as well. It is said that Tenzing Norgay Sherpa and Edmund Hillary used the route through Salpa Pokuri during their first ascent of Mount Everest. Salpa Pokuri is also a multi-religious center of faith, as apart from Kiratis, various ethnic groups, including Hindus and Buddhists, hold fairs at this place 4 times a year. There is a religious belief that people who are born unable to speak can start speaking after being dipped in the waters of this pond, and childless couples are blessed with children after visiting Salpa Pokuri. Silichung Dada with Salpa Pokuri as its base camp is an important destination for tourists trekking the Mundum Trail. Tourists who reach Salpa often make a return trip to the summit of Silichung Dada, which stands at an altitude of 4,100 meters. Specially considered a significant center of religious faith for the Kirati people, from the Silichung Peak one can easily view the Himalayan range as well as the flat plains of the Tarai. From Silichung, 6 Himalayan peaks including Everest, Makalu, Kanchenjunga, Kumbhakarna and Mera Peak can be seen right before one's eyes. The Salpa Silichung Peak, the highest point in the religiously and touristically significant district of Bhojpur, is established as the tallest among Temke Dada and Mayung Dada. There is a popular belief that wishes are fulfilled after visiting and offering prayers at the peak of Silichung. Silichung Peak is located on the border of Bhojpur and Sankhwa districts. It is useful not only for anchoring one's religious faith, but also for savoring the unique blend of nature and culture. From the peak of Silichung, one can directly see Salpa Pokuri to the south and the villages of Solukhumbu, Sankhwa and Bhojpur. The valley and plains formed by the Arun River, which flows through Bhojpur and Sankhwa can be easily viewed from this area. From Silichung, one can also enjoy panoramic views of the sunrise and sunset. At sunrise, a captivating view of mist in the Arun Valley can be seen from this spot. When the weather is clear, climbing Silichung Peak brings a feeling of heavenly bliss. The Silichung area is as naturally beautiful as it is culturally significant. In recent times, Kirat, Hindu and Buddhist followers have come to regard Silichung Peak as a common pilgrimage site. A large number of shamans gather here during the full moons of Bhadra, Kartik and Baisakh. Shamans in particular ascend Silichung to gain power and knowledge. The fragrance of the extremely aromatic bhairung, sunpati and other fragrant herbs and flowers found around Silichung makes the stay there even more pleasant. There is a Mundum myth that Kirati people gain power from this area, envisioning it as the place where the world was created, starting from the hearth, the main pillar, the main door, the eaves, the flower garden, the resting place, and the final water source, while praying to their ancestors for divine power. Upon reaching this point, the Mundum trek can be considered complete for the time being. The Mundum Trail is an excellent destination for tourists who want to get close to the Himalayas and enjoy their beauty. The hundreds of types of flowers and birds seen during the Mundum trek make the journey even more interesting. The path is completely covered with the national flower rhododendron in various colors. Being a confluence of nature, culture, and Kirati civilization, tourists get to taste a sweet flavor during the Mundum trek. People of all age groups can undertake this trek. On both sides of the trail, the language, religion, rituals, and culture, as well as the lifestyle of 10 different Kirati-speaking Rai groups are vibrant. This region contains descriptions of the Kirati people from their creation to their civilization, their migration, various activities and rituals and traditions from birth to death. During this journey, one can truly feel a spiritual connection with their ancestors, and with those who have passed, locals have added new dimensions of tourism to the Mundum Trail. Along with homestays, one can also experience goat stays, which is staying in a herder's shed during the Mundum trek. Local herders warmly welcome the trekkers. This trail of indigenous civilization has recently emerged in the tourism world as a top cultural destination. Therefore, developing the Mundum Trail, an exceptional confluence of nature and culture, into a model destination, therefore, developing the Mundum Trail, an exceptional confluence of nature and culture, into a model destination for recreation and study for both domestic and international visitors has become a pressing priority.
Hello and welcome to NTV World Insight. Now, every day millions of people fight invisible battles, moments of quiet panic in a crowd, the weight of grief carried with a smile, the constant noise of self-doubt, or the exhaustion that comes from pretending to be okay. There are struggles with anxiety, depression, trauma, burnout, and even loneliness in a hyper-connected world. And because they are invisible, they are often misunderstood, minimized, or left untreated in silence, in memory, in the spaces between thoughts. Now, our guest today has dedicated his life to understanding those quiet wars. He has spent his life decoding the most complex thing in the universe, not outer space, but inner space. He is a leading neuropsychiatrist, a researcher, a healer, and a voice for mental well-being in Nepal and beyond. From trauma to transformation, his work asks one profound question: how does the human mind find light after darkness? Please welcome Dr. Sudarshan Narsingh Pradhan. Welcome, Dr. Pradhan.
Namaste.
Now, recently, mental health awareness has been the topic in every social media, in news platform, everywhere. But why do people still suffer in silence?
Actually, what is the thing that the people think that this is not an illness. This is the real taboo. And when they are perceiving such type of problem, especially they used to perceive the physical symptoms like palpitation. If the anxiety case, if you see that anxiety case, what they perceive that they used to have a palpitation, they have a headache, they have a shortness of breath, they have a difficulty in breathing. These are the issues they used to come. And what really problem is, they usually land up in a not to psychiatrist, they go to in a different specialty. Especially when they feel they are having a palpitation, they used to go to cardiologist. And when they are having some buzzing sounds in the air, they used to go to ENT surgeon. So these all are actually the cause of anxiety. And the cause of anxiety, the background, if you see, there must be some stress factors. The stress factor may be different kinds of stress factors. Stress means that the people may have a difficulties in their financial aspect. Maybe they are having a difficulties in domestic problem, maybe difficulties in education problem, especially in the student life. These are the issues which they are not able to tackle and not able to solve.
So
and
these are trauma responses.
And these are the responses toward the psychological phenomena causing those symptoms. But actually when they get all the checkup, they don't find anything. Like if you do the ECGs and X-rays and the blood parameters, everything will be normal. But they feel that there is no any problem. Actually, this is not the physical illness, but actually it is a psychological illness. That is really causing a really problematic. This is what issues. And in those conditions, what will happen? They will be wandering around with many doctors, many physicians, many other super specialties. But actually, if they could find it out, what is the real problem behind that? Before coming to us, they are landing to in a different specialty. This is really a big issues current in a current scenario.
So what happens when the brain experiences these kind of traumas? Like, is it like a movie, or is it like a scar that stays and burns? How does the brain feel?
Well, actually, it's, the scar is not in the outside. The scar, the problem, the misery, the conflict, that was in their mind. I'll give you one example. There is a husband and wife is there, and the husband is alcoholic. And he used to take alcohol day to night, from morning to day, and even the evening time, daily. There is no responsibilities of the homework and nothing. And what the suffering is the wife. Wife used to suffer with it. She have to see all the things, that the households and the children and everything. Right. Even the husband is not earning properly. And with that, beside that, the husband also becoming abusive, and the physical assault, and these are the issues become. And the wife, with this handling this type of situation, she used to have a lot of problems with this then. And that's why she will have a lot of insomnia. She is always scared of the husband coming in the home, that she may be feeling that he will beat me, or he will do all the nuisance, and he will make a lot of problems. So what will happen to that lady whose husband is an alcoholic? And that issues are very, very common, especially in our scenario. Right. And not only in rural areas, in urban areas also, these issues are very, very common. And with that, you can see that that woman, that's why she will be suffering in a depression, she will having anxiety, and sometimes even the post-traumatic stress disorder. But even her voices become so low, right, that she is not able to go outside and tell that the husband is doing this thing. Right. Even the husband beat her and make a lot of bruises, and she will go to hospital, she will go to other physician and tell that I fell down. She never used to say that my husband beat me. So you see that this type of things happen, and on the background, this the ongoing stress she is perceiving. With that, she will have a lot of mental issues will become, and she is not able to tackle these things. She becomes lonely. She cannot get any proper help. This is one small scenario, right, that I told you.
So these are the cases of violence and trauma. And there's a saying, when people go through bad experiences, time heals all wounds. But does time really heal the wound that's in your brain, or does the brain just happen to hide it better?
No, actually, time will heal her, but the thing is that if she gets a proper treatment, this is the more important part. They have to be brought to us and then see that what are the reasons. Especially we will find it out, but in my experience I can see that when the patient see that we make her tell her stories. Yes. Initially they don't want to reveal it in detail, because this is really a big issue for her, and she doesn't want to make it. It's become a taboo, it's become a prestigious issue, and that's why she is not coming up. And immediately she will not tell this thing. While talking, gradually what will happen, she started shedding tears, and then after, what is the reason behind that? And she has a lot of traumatic experiences, and she will tell all the things. With shedding tears, she will be telling that these are the issues. And then after, the problem is that after giving some pills, she will not be revealed. She will not be cared. But the problem is the husband, to whom maybe he is having alcoholic and he is having a mental issues also. With that, he need a proper treatment. So you can see that not only one woman getting treatment, but also the causing that the husband becoming alcoholic, that he also need some proper treatment, so that the people both in the family, they will get a proper solution with that.
Right. So Dr. Pradhan, from your experience and expertise, what kind of mental health issues or challenges people come with, and does it differ from age groups, or is it similar to maybe one gender or one community, or is it from a different background?
Oh, there are many more issues that I have been experiencing with this. I can see that I told you that one stigma is attached with this, that, and besides that, the violence I have just now told about these things, the domestic violence are very much common, and besides that, the incest and the rape issues to the younger child, especially in rural areas, especially in western part of Nepal. I can see I've been involved in some NGOs, and they are bringing the young children coming from there. These are the issues also, very burning issues with the rape case and all these domestic violences to the younger children, especially to the young child around 12, 13 years. These are the issues. Even not only that, with this I can see that the post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression is very, very common. This is also issues that I have been finding. And beside that, the suicide is also another issue that we have been finding out. Especially a suicide is an attempted suicide. That it's mostly in the hospital cases. In Nepalese scenario, we can see that attempted suicides are almost each and every day around 50 to 60 persons attempting suicide in a various way. Some people may jump from height, taking poison, sometimes cut injuries. These are the issues that usually come to the emergency department.
Is this because of PTSD, like you said?
One thing is not only the PTSD. I'm talking about not only the PTSD. There is another issues like depression. Depression is also one of the principal cause of attempting suicide, and not only the depression, and also the bipolar illness and the schizophrenia, alcohol abuse, the drug abuse. These all are the issues behind the attempting suicide. This is the thing. These issues are very, very common.
So how do you know if someone needs medication or is just talking enough?
They have to be brought by any visitors, family members, friends, any person who they have to do, because they can see that there are some issues with this problem. Maybe having insomnia, maybe having some anxiety issues. The behavior changes. I can say that in one word, their behavior changes, which is not accepted by the society. This is the reason. That means that his or her behavior in the society, which is sometimes not normal. This is totally in a different way. They are talking in a differently. They are behaving in a differently. This attempted suicide is one of the behavior change. Staying almost in a room, a locked room, not interacting with the people, and especially in the children, their academic performance is decreased. So these all are the issues where the mental health will evoke over there, and then we need to see what are the really problems.
Right. So if two people experience the same kind of traumatic experience, and maybe one might develop PTSD, but the other one does not, is it because of upbringing? Is it biology, or is it just mysterious?
No, actually, what is the PTSD is when the diagnostic criteria in the PTSD, what we see is the person used to experience in such a devastating condition where she or he almost used to experience the death issue. Now I am going to die. This type of issues, feeling will occur in that traumatic experience. that may be earthquake, that may be flood, that may be threatening behavior. These all are the issues. Especially you can see that especially war zones like in Gaza and Palestine and in Ukraine, these were war places. In those conditions, you can find these PTSD is very, very common.
Do you think sleep, diet, or even digital platforms, social media, are the reason to anxiety or some symptoms of similar mental disorders?
Well, definitely it is. There's a social media, excessive seeing in a social media, excessive involvement in social media. What will happen that they will be seeing all the violence and everything. Like last time when we have this Gen Z revolution, during that time people used to excessively involve in the social media. They used to see all the burned places, they used to see the all the smokes and all the injuries. With that, they have some triggering factor that they what to do, some dilemma, some anxiety it will provoke definitely. So we do recommend that not to engage longer duration of staying in a social media. I think you need some gap also. Just to see and to get the information is thing. But right now, I think to get the information in the right resources is very important, because nowadays social media, some of the fake news are also very common, and with that fake news the people think that it is really true. So try to understand which one is fake and which one is not, which one is true. So I think to get the information to getting from the real resource places, especially like in the NTV, you can see that you give the real information. Whereas other like these TikTok, these Facebook, these all are the people are putting over there their experiences, which may be the fake also.
So social media does shape how mental health is perceived in today.
Not to everybody, but people who are introvert, people who are very much anxiety-prone personalities, these people are affected by this type of news, which is harmful for them. In those conditions, it's better to avoid social media.
So how would a healthy relationship with social media even look like in this era?
It's not that you go away from that social media also. Nowadays, each and every people is very much aware, very much need, but there must be some limited hour also. It's not that completely every time you are engaging, you are involving in the social media. So there are many more things. With this, their intellectual power, their academic power, this all will decrease with that. So it's better is we like to make it some gap and not to engage a lot of time in a social media.
So Dr. Pradhan, we have actually curated a small video for you. We asked the general public, what does mental health mean to them?
डाक्टरहरुको सरसल्लाह तपाईको युट्युबहरुमा समाचारमा स्वास्थ्यको धेरै जति पनि नराम्रो छ भने पनि राम्रो कुरा पनि धेरै युट्युबहरुमा देखिन्छ। अब प्राय बच्चाहरुले चाहिँ त्यतातिर ध्यान दिनुहुन्न अनि घरमा पनि अब त्यही वातावरण चाहिँ बाबुआमाले पनि त्यस्तो स्वास्थ्यपट्टि चाहिँ अलिकति बुझ्नु भयो भने बच्चाहरुलाई त्यही हिसाबमा आफू सरै ल्याउनु भयो भने त्यो हिसाबमा बच्चा चल्न सक्छ।
फिलिङ्सहरु सप्रेस गर्ने, इमोसनल सप्रेस गर्ने अनि आफू चाहिँ डिप्रेसनमा जाने जस्तो सिचुएसनहरु पनि आउँछ। अहिले हामीले प्राय देखिरहेको छौं डिप्रेसनमा गएर मान्छेहरुले सुसाइडल केसहरु कति धेरै गरिरा हुन्छ है। यो भनेको चाहिँ एउटा मेन्टल काउन्सिलिङ भनेको चाहिँ त्यही भएर म चाहिँ एउटा प्रिभेन्टिभ मेजर जस्तो पनि हो जस्तो लाग्छ। जनरल पब्लिकहरुको लागि पनि कति कुराहरुमा चाहिँ हामीलाई थाहा हुँदैन, हामी मेन्टली इल भइरा हुन्छौं, तर पनि वी आर नट अवेयर कि हामी चाहिँ एउटा सिकनेसको जर्नीमा गइरहेको हुन्छ।
बोट बिरुवामा खेल्दै गयो भने त्यहाँ झार उम्रा हुन्छ, त्यसलाई कसैलाई पानी भएको हुँदैन, कसैलाई तपाईको मल पुगा हुँदैन, कोहीलाई रोग लाग्यो हुन्छ। त्यो हाम्रो दिमाग डाइभर्ट भएपछि त त्यो मान्छेले त्यो हेल्थलाई एकदम कन्सियस गरेर काम गर्न सक्यो के, त्यसपछि उसको हेल्थलाई त उसले अटोमेटिकै सपोर्ट गर्ने भयो नि त। त्यो हिसाबले नै मेन्टल हेल्थको लागि चाहिँ अति आवश्यकै जस्तो लाग्छ।
अहिलेको मेन्टल हेल्थको बारेमा चाहिँ जस्तै नेपालमा चाहिँ मोबाइल कम्प्युटरहरू चाहिँ एकदम चलाएको देखिन्छ यङ जेनेरेसनमा चाहिँ। त्यो भएको हुनाले चाहिँ लाइक टिकटक एसएनएस चाहिँ धेरै चलाएको हुन्छ। त्यो भएको हुनाले जस्तै स्क्रोल टाइमिङ चाहिँ धेरै नै हुन्छ यो यङ जेनेरेसनमा चाहिँ। त्यो भएको हुनाले इनफ स्लिप चाहिँ हुँदैन लाइक न्युट्रिसन फुडमा पनि ध्यान दिएको हुँदैन किनकि टाइम स्पेन्ड धेरै भएको हुनाले चाहिँ यसमा चाहिँ कन्ट्रोल गर्न पर्ने देखिन्छ
Parents have to be very much careful about what the children are doing. Especially the children are also they are very much fond of these in social media, mostly engaging all those things. But what we do is that the parents also used to see in social media, and the same thing the children used to copy what the parents are doing. So what we do suggest that the parents also stop looking after these things, give some time and play with the children. That is the main technique to avoid the social media. You start talking with your children, play with them, indoor games or outdoor games, or go around somewhere places that are looking at good places. So these are the issues to avoid social media, and then it will be better one. So what they do, especially they both start saying that children used to copy the parents. To avoid those things, play with them, stay with them, eat together, stay together, relax together with the children. It's very important part. This is how we have to teach the children to engage in social activities, not the social media and a mobile phone.
So Dr. Pradhan is actually a former president of SARC Psychiatric Association as well. So we talk about mental health these days a lot more than a decade ago. But is mental health accessible to everyone, or is it just people who can afford it talk about it?
That's a very good question you asked about this thing. Actually, mental health is that what we have to do is it should be accessible to everybody. But the thing is that not only accessible, right now the scenario is they are not understanding what is mental illness. What they feel that mental health is only to the insane people who used to have it, the problem, and then this is the mental health. Not like that. Mental health issues is how their intellectual abilities, how their social activities, how their interacting with the other people, how is their memory capacity. These all are the issues together to see the mental health awareness, mental health issues that we have to see. And with that, we can see what are the real problems. Especially that when any issues like in schizophrenia, in bipolar affective disorder, what they will have, there are the different perceptual disturbances, mood disturbances, these things will occur. With that, totally different scenario will occur.
So do you think therapy and psychiatry in Nepal and other countries like Nepal, is mental health seen as a luxury or actually a necessity?
Oh, no, it's not luxury. We can't say that like that. But actually, this is really awareness is very important. What we are doing right now, each and every last time we have the 10th October is the mental health issue day, and the 10th September is the suicide prevention day. These all the issues these days are that we are providing some type of awareness programs are very much there. But beside that, still this is not effective. Still this is not accessible to the general public. They feel in a different way that this is the thing. So in those conditions, especially we need to go to school and school areas around 9 or 10 school children to educate about the mental health. What is really problem? Especially in those areas, they used to indulge in cigarette smoking or maybe these tablet taking behaviors. These are also another problem and challenging to them. So in those conditions, we need a greater awareness program in school programs also. And beside that, and this is also one of the programs, this is also awareness program, so that the people can understand what really the mental health and how we can go ahead and how we can understand the mental health. This is the thing. Mental health, it doesn't mean that one person is totally insane and we see those things. That how you are working here, because you are we are a mentally healthy person. That's why you can work in this condition. If any challenges you have, you you solve those problems with your own intellectual capacity. This is what the mental issues, mental health issues, that you are mentally aware and you are mentally well-being, that show that any problem you can solve. This is how we go ahead, because we can see that not only all the people are mentally ill.
So for people who are fighting these silent battles in their own head, what message would you like to give them?
To the general public, give love and affection to your mentally ill people, and this is their right to get the treatment also. They have their right. So if any person who used to see such type of problem, please do bring to us, then definitely they will be cared. And especially to the rural areas, don't make it in a prison, and don't make it in a bounded in a room, a locked room. So they have to come out. They're right to get the treatment. This is what the message have to go.
Thank you so much for joining us today in NTV Insights. That was a very insightful conversation with Dr. Pradhan. Now, for in-depth stories and analysis, do follow our website, www.ntvworld.com, and do follow us on YouTube channel NTV World and social media handle as well. Until next time, see you.
In the high mountains, where the air thins and silence deepens, an ancient discipline endures. More than art, this is meditation in motion. A prayer woven into canvas, finding the divine within. This is Thanka.
Thanka भने चाहिँ त्यो समतल भूमि भने हो के हैन त्यो स्पेस भने हो त्यो रेसेमा पनि तपाईले सेतो गणमा स्पेस देख्यो नि हैन हो त्यसमा चाहिँ का लेख्ने भने चाहिँ बुद्धको वचन लेख्ने भने हो के त्यो बुद्धको वचन बागल चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ शुद्ध छ हैन राम्रो छ त्यसले चाहिँ मानव जीवनलाई चाहिँ कल्याण मानव जीवनलाई मात्र नभएर प्राणी जगतलाई नि चाहिँ कल्याण गर्ने चिज हो थाङ्गा त्यही भएर चाहिँ जीवन जिउनेसँग चाहिँ रिलेटेड छ भनेर भने हो त्यो चाहिँ पञ्चतत्वको रूपमा चाहिँ त्यो चिनाएर त्यो तत्त्वलाई त्यो ठाउँमा जानुपर्छ भनेरको यो त आशयको रूपमा चाहिँ लगेको हुन्छ
Thanka painting is more than art. It's devotion on canvas, rooted in Buddha philosophy, traditions, and shaped by centuries of Buddhist influence. Each stroke tells a story of enlightenment.
This is not from painter's own mind. This is from the book. So painters, they have to strictly follow the rules. Through meditation, we can understand our true nature. And when we understand our true nature, we understand everybody. And our true nature is compassion. Our true nature is wisdom. And when we practice these things, we find peace, and that peace is permanent.
Thangka painting is not merely creation, it is consecration, rooted in Buddhist philosophy and perfected through centuries. Each brushstroke carries the weight of a mantra, each color a fragment of enlightenment.
खाइबो भन्छ हामीले चाहिँ आर्टिस्टलाई त्यो खाइबाले चाहिँ किन आएर चाहिँ ढोग्यो भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ तीनचोटी ढोग्यो नि त्यो शरण गमन गरे हो कि म बुद्धको शरणमा छु भन्ने हो त्यो चाहिँ बुद्ध चित्त उत्पात गर्ने भन्छ कि चित्त तपाईको शुद्ध हुनु पर्यो हैन त्यो शुद्ध भएर लेखेको थाङ्गाले चाहिँ अरूलाई पनि राम्रो गर्ने पनि पै प्राणी हितको लागि चाहिँ यो मैले गरेको लेखेको बुद्ध वचनले चाहिँ उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ राम्रो होस् भन्ने आशाका साथ चाहिँ छोड्नु पर्छ कि हो यसरी चाहिँ लेखेको हुन्छ थाङ्गा चाहिँ
The Thangka is a visual sculpture, a spiritual map to transcendence. Every artist begins not with imagination, but with surrender to discipline, devotion, and compassion for all living beings. To paint is to meditate. To complete is to awaken. In today's studios, the old and the new converge. Tutors like Sushan Subedi introduce curious travelers to ancient grammar of lines and color.
All of the painting you are seeing over here, so these are known as Thangka, which is a Tibetan word which means the painting that is painted on a cotton surface. Okay, so first of all what we do is, we just take a normal cotton like this and we stretch it on a wooden frame very hardly and very tightly. Okay, so while tying it very hard on a normal cotton, what happens is there are some millions of tiny holes. So if you pour the color can bleed. So we cannot do the painting on a normal cotton. So we have a process, we call it the process of canvas.
While at nearby workshops, artists like Sonam still lose themselves in the ritual of creation.
यो चाहिँ बम्बई ड्याङ कटन जुन यसैबाट चाहिँ हाम्रो ट्रेडिसनल आर्टको चाहिँ थाङ्का फर्स्ट प्रोसेसिङ चाहिँ यहीँबाट हुन्छ सरेस भन्ने गरिन्छ हामीले यो चाहिँ खासमा र याक स्किन भनेर चाहिँ प्रयोग गरिन्छ पहिलेको त्यो हिस्ट्री हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अनि अब यो चाहिँ हाम्रो चाहिँ माध्यम चाहिँ यो ग्लुको काम गर्छ यसले चाहिँ यो र हामीले चाहिँ माटो मिसाएर चाहिँ यसमा पानी लगाएर अब यसको कति मात्रा उ गरेर तताइसकेपछि चाहिँ अनि अब हामीले कत्रो क्यानभस बनाउने कतिवटा बनाउने त्यो हिसाबले हामीले यो सरेस माटो भनिन्छ त्यो मिलाएर मात्रा मिलाएर हामीले प्रोसेसिङमा जानु सकिन्छ हामीले चाहिँ यो क्यानभस बनाउँदाखेरि समय अनुसार मौसम अनुसारले पनि बनाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ घाम लाग्ने बेलामा बनाउन सक्यो भने हामीले छिटो आफ्नो कामहरु छिटो छरिदो बनाउन सकिन्छ र झरी पर्ने बेलामा चाहिँ हामीलाई निकै समय लाग्छ त्यसले गर्दाखेरि यो घाम लाग्ने बेलामा हामीले बनाउन सक्यौं भने छिटो अनि यसलाई आफुलाई चाहिने मात्रामा पटक पटक यता दुई साइडमा चाहिँ क्लीन गर्नु सफा गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ अनि कतिको मात्रा हामीलाई चाहिन्छ त्यो पुगिसकेपछि हामीले त्यसपछि स्केचमा जानुपर्ने हुन्छ यो सुकिसकेपछि चाहिँ एउटा यसरी पनि हामीले चेक गर्न सकिन्छ हामीले कतिको तयारी भयो भएन यो आवाज आउनु पर्ने हुन्छ जस्तै अब ओसिएको छ भने बेग्लै आवाज आउँछ सुकेको छ भने राम्रो आवाज आउँछ यो
Thangka painting begins with the canvas stretched tight, once upon wood, now upon iron frames. The glue that seals it, once drawn from the yak, now sourced from the maple or synthesized in a lab. Yet in the scent of drying paste, the artist still reads the readiness of the soul of the painting.
So after the sketching is done, second thing we do is the coloring. So while coloring, we have different levels of artists in our school. Like from the beginner level, we have intermediate and the master level of artists. So if you go with the beginner intermediate, they use the acrylic colors. But if you go with the master level of artists, so they use the stone colors like this. Okay, so why they use the stone color is stone being a natural color. So while we apply this sort of color in the art, it remains for the longer period of time, because natural thing, it doesn't have expiry date. Yeah, so the meaning and the philosophy of an art, the art itself, it is preserved for the longer period of time. So that's why they use the stone. And for the finishing of an art, so we use 24 karat real gold on the painting. Okay, so why we use the gold is not to make the painting very expensive, but if you see in Hinduism, in Buddhism, gold, it is signified as in purity. So to purify the meaning and the philosophy behind the art, so we use 24 karat real gold.
Every line follows a rule, every proportion holds meaning. The face of the deity isn't imagined, it slowly reveals itself, guided by sacred patterns that keep harmony between the world outside and the spirit within. The colors come from the earth, crushed stones and minerals mixed with glue, made to last for generations. Lapis brings purity, malachite speaks of compassion, and cinnabar carries wisdom. These are just colors, they are prayers in pigment.
प्राचीन कालमा चाहिँ यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ पाँचवटा कलर लेख्ने हो। पाँच कलर जस्तो अग्नि तत्त्व, वायु तत्त्व, माटो तत्त्व, हावा तत्त्व, पाँच तत्त्वले बनाएको हो। त्यो पाँच तत्त्वले किन बनाएको भने त्यो पाँच तत्त्वबाट हाम्रो शरीर बनाएको छ नि। यो थाङ्गा भनेको चाहिँ वास्तवमा के हो भने जे जति थाङ्गामा छ त्यो हामीसँगै छ, जे हामीसँग त्यो थाङ्गामै छ। त्यसकारण त्यो बेला चाहिँ त्यो नेचुरल, हामीले पनि नेचुरली बनाएको हो नि त, प्रकृतिले बनाएको नि, थाङ्गा पनि प्रकृति नै हो। त्यसमा अलिक अहिले चाहिँ कलर के छ भने पाँचवटा कलर पनि हामीले मिसाउँदाखेरि अर्को कलर बन्छ। त्यो पाँचवटा कलर मात्रै पुग्दैन। त्यो बेला त्यो रियालिटी थाङ्गा नजिक बसेर साधना गर्दा हामीलाई त्यो भाइब्रेसन आउँछ, पोजिटिभ कुरा आउँछ। यो त खालि बुद्धले टिकाको टिचिङ गर्नुभएको नेचुरल फेनोमेना छ नि, नेचर माइन्ड छ नि, त्योसँग रिलेटेड छ यो।
Then comes the awakening, the eyes. Until that moment, the thanga is silent. When the artist paints the peoples, the deity is invited to reside within. The canvas breathes, the prayer begins. From quiet Himalayan ateliers to the galleries in Tokyo, Berlin, and New York, thangas now travel far beyond the monasteries. They adorn homes, museums, and collectors' walls, a global symbol of Nepal's artistic devotion.
Mostly, Thanga word itself is a Tibetan word, so this tradition belongs to Tibetan people. This tradition belongs to Tamang. This tradition belongs to Newar community. Although they have different expression of color, technique, the detail, but this tradition, this culture belongs to this three community, and this is kind of passed on tradition. They learn this skill from their forefather to the new generation. This is how this tradition has been continuing and preserving. So it is beneficial for them to live their life, and it is beneficial for the country because this is a culture, and culture and tradition is the treasure of each country.
The trade sustains thousands. From the hum of Bodh's alleys to export crates bound for distant lands, Thangka has become a vital thread in Nepal's creative economy. Yet, as markets grow, so does the tension between faith and fame, between meditation and merchandise.
कला चाहिँ दुवै राम्रै हो हैन आफ्नो आफ्नै फिलोसफी भन्ने हो यसले चाहिँ तपाईको मन भित्रको डेप्थमा जाने सिकाउने हो यसमा चाहिँ यो चाहिँ मिहिन काम हुन्छ कठिन पनि हुन्छ के किनभने यसमा चाहिँ तपाईले चाहिँ अघिको जस्तो धेरै चीजहरु चाहिँ लिनुपर्छ अनुशासन लिनु पर्यो हैन यसको विधि विधानमा बसेर गर्नुपर्छ यसमा चाहिँ अब त्यो चाहिँ तपाईको मनमा जुन फिलिङ्स आउँछ त्यो लेखिहाल्ने हो के त्यो गर्दाखेरि त्यसले पनि वर्ल्डमा चलिरहेछ यसले चाहिँ नेपालले किन त्यो अब त्यसलाई चाहिँ कम्पिटिसन गर्न सक्छ भने चाहिँ यो चीज चाहिँ अरूले गर्न सक्दैन किनभने त्यसमा मेडिटेसन ध्यान जस्तै गर्नुपर्छ के सरकारी स्कुलबाट स्कुलिङ देखि नै गर्नुपर्छ यसको पाठ्यक्रमहरु बनाउनु पर्छ हैन एउटा त्यो गरिसकेपछि यसको प्रमोट हुन्छ हैन हामीलाई चाहिने त त्यो प्रवर्धन हो नि तर ब्याङ्किङहरुले पनि के गर्नु पर्यो भने यसलाई चाहिँ बिना दिदोमा पनि के रे ऋण दिने वातावरण हैन कलाकारको के छुटाएर के अनि तपाईको हामीले ट्याक्स तिर्नु पर्छ ट्याक्स तिर्दाखेरि पनि कुनै एउटा चीज चाहिँ कलाकारलाई कुन ओदामा राखेर त्यसको एउटा ब्यालेन्स एउटा गरेर सरकारले गरिदियो भने यसको जन अझ फ्रस्टिन्छ के फ्रस्टिएपछि त यो नेपालकै लागि चाहिँ यसले चाहिँ पर्यटनलाई पनि विकास हुने अनि त्यो स्कुल कलेजमा भयो भने पुस्ता हस्तान्तरण चाहिँ एकदम दिगो हुन्छ के
All the Thangka has same meaning of peace. So foreigner, they admire philosophy. Practitioner also, they choose deities mostly to practice, to visualize, and they imagine the quality of deities with themselves. And some least person, they want it as a souvenir to decorate for the positive vibe. Some they buy it for the gift for their loved one. Philosophy reminds us about the beautiful quality, and that quality gives us peace, and that peace is everyone searching for. So Thangka painting is very, very important for everyone because it is relevant with our life. If it is relevant with our life, that is truth.
But beyond commerce and canvas, a Thangka is still a mirror, reflecting a way of life where art and spirit breathe as one. Every brush that moves today carries the echo of generations, an unbroken whisper from monastery walls to the modern world. As the sun sets over the Himalayas, somewhere an artist bows before a finished Thangka. His work is now complete, his prayer released. For in every stroke lies a journey from pigment to prayer, from devotion to eternity. This is not just Nepal's art, it is Nepal's soul, painted into time.
Actually, when I was 16, back in 2015, I was at a music festival. This music is called bluegrass that I play, and I was at this bluegrass festival, and this person named Tara Linhart. She is amazing. You can talk to her more, but she had a fantastic project called the Mountain Music Project. And I heard this project of Nepali musicians and bluegrass musicians coming together and fusing the music. And I thought it was really, really cool to see this cross-cultural collaboration. But I really just wanted to get back to music. And so I reached out to Tara. I had an opportunity to get some funding. And I emailed her randomly. She was in Bhutan at the time. And I said, hey, I want to set up a music project in Nepal. Can you connect me with some of your buddies? And she got on a WhatsApp call and started giving me the lowdown of how awesome it was. One of the people she introduced me to was actually Prince's father, Sham Nepali. And we met in New Hampshire. And we jammed together and had a great time. And he said, oh, when you get to Nepal, you have to meet my son. He's so great. He'll play music. You'll play music together. I was like, yeah, whatever, okay. Like, every dad is going to say that about their son. Like, is it going to be great? Well, then 3 months later, I showed up in Nepal, and I had only brought a mandolin, and I wanted a guitar to write some songs on. So I called up Shamdai, and I said, hey, can I borrow a guitar? He said, yes, come meet my son. And so I met Prince in Kirtipur, and we started playing that day. And then we sat down and we started playing, and it was just like magic. It was just sort of this instant connection. That was pretty special and crazy to me that we grew up on opposite sides of the world, and there are American musicians who I don't vibe with. We don't have a connection. But me and Prince, it was just an instant connection. And so we started jamming together.
It's a love song that my great-grandfather composed, and we're gonna fuse with another bluegrass love song. सानी सानी ए झिल्के नानी कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी सानी सानी ए झिल्के नानी कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी हाय हाय कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी चस्मे दाजु झिल्के मिल्के जुल्फी मात्र कोर्ने चस्मे दाजु झिल्के मिल्के जुल्फी मात्र कोर्ने दारी जुङ्गा दन्त देखाई मेरो मन चोर्ने दारी जुङ्गा दन्त देखाई मेरो मन चोर्ने नजिस्काउन हे परुलाई हाय सिबर काकी छोरीलाई नजिस्काउन हे परुलाई हाय सिबर काकी छोरीलाई सानी सानी ए झिल्के नानी कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी हाय हाय कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी
जन्म दिने भगवान त हुर्काइदिने आमा जन्म दिने भगवान त हुर्काइदिने आमा कसले हेर यति राम्रो पहिराइदियो जमा कसले हेर यति राम्रो पहिराइदियो जमा सानी सानी एझिल्के नानी कति राम्रो कपाल छोडेकी सानी सानी एझिल्के नानी कति राम्रो कपाल छोडेकी हाय हाय कति राम्रो कपाल छोडेकी हाय हाय कति राम्रो कपाल छोडेकी हाय हाय कति राम्रो कपाल
She was living in a lonely cabin with son by another man. 5 years she had waited for him as long as a woman can, as long as a woman can. And I don't know what changed my mind, till then I was a rambling kind of love I can't explain that I had for Nellie Kane. Day to help her till the lands. In the afternoon we planted seeds, in the evening we held hands, in the evening we held hands. And her blue eyes told me everything that a man could want to know. It was then I realized how I'd never go, how I'd never go. And I don't know what changed my mind, till then I was a rambling kind of love explain that I had for Nellie Kane. We've grown up tall. I became a father to him, and she became my all. She became my all. And I don't know what changed my mind, till then I was a rambling kind of love I can't explain that I had for Nellie Kane. No, I don't know what changed my mind, till then I was a rambling kind of love I can't explain that I had for Nellie Kane.
Well, first of all, I just fell in love with Nepali culture. I love momos, I love dal bhat, I love it all. I love this beautiful country. I think our message to the world, one of them is that we want to show more people the beautifulness of Nepal. I think that from my perspective, I love Nepali folk music, but in this country, sometimes people haven't valued it. They've looked to the West for other influences. And so one of our goals is to bring up Nepali folk and fusing it. We're not just doing pure folk music, but to show that this is a vibrant, evolving history and tradition that is still relevant today. And then I also think to people abroad, and especially to Nepalis, I want to show them that they can take their instruments and their culture and they can bring it to the world, and that it's so amazing. I mean, everyone who I know that maybe they don't know so much about Nepal, maybe the only thing they know is that Mount Everest is there. But then once they try a momo, once they hear some music, then they love it. And so we want to just share this music with more people and share the cross-cultural collaboration.
I know I've been saying this for a couple of years now, but because we recorded an EP for one day, and then I've been gone from Nepal for the last year, and the hard drive just sat, and no one did anything with the files yet. So we finally got the files going, and we are finally working on our debut EP that will feature a lot of these songs, including the next one, which is one I wrote a couple of years ago. Cause all day I chug way after work and try to shove down all of the hurt. But sometimes at the end doesn't fit on the page, and my eyes just run a glaze. Let it burn in there, sing hallelujah, 'cause I can finally feel something instead of just nothing at all. this whirlwind, is there even a point of it all? 'Cause at the end of the day, just us back in the fray on this rugged, snowy road. And I say, hallelujah, I'm on fire, I'm on fire. And I say, hallelujah, let it burn, let it burn. And I say, hallelujah, 'cause I can finally feel something instead of just nothing at all. And I say, hallelujah, I'm on fire, I'm on fire. And I say, hallelujah, let it burn, let it burn. And I say, hallelujah, 'cause I can finally feel something instead of just nothing at all. Cause when the night birds come, it's when I lose my mind. No, I can't bear this endless ticking of time.
Well, right now we really want to go abroad, and in particular, my dream is to bring the band to the U.S., to these festivals that I grew up going to, because I think it's so cool. I love playing the music that I grew up with, but with tabla on it, and the beat is dropping. It's so awesome. But right now we've been having a little bit of trouble figuring out with the visas, especially right now. So we're working on that. And then also being abroad. It's very difficult when I've moved back to the US recently. And so when we're far away, it's hard we can't make music in the same way. But it also means that the times when we are together, I've been back for a month, are just extra special because we get to make music together.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro pleaded not guilty to narcotics charges after President Donald Trump's stunning capture of him rattled world leaders and left officials in Caracas scrambling to regroup. Maduro's wife, Celia Flores, also pleaded not guilty. The next court date has been set for March the 17th. Dozens of protesters, both pro and anti-Maduro, gathered outside the courthouse before the half-hour's hearing. Maduro is accused of overseeing a cocaine trafficking network with international drug cartels and faces 4 criminal counts: narcoterrorism, cocaine importation conspiracy, and possession of machine guns and destructive devices. He has long denied the allegations, saying they were a mask for taking over Venezuela's rich oil reserves. Meanwhile, Venezuela's National Assembly sworn in Delcy Rodriguez as interim president following the dramatic seizure of Maduro by U.S. forces in Caracas. The appointment comes just 2 days after Maduro's removal as lawmakers move to stabilize the country amid a growing political and humanitarian crisis. Rodriguez, a former vice president and close ally of Maduro, now assumes control of the government, though her authority may face challenges both domestically and internationally. This, however, marks a new and uncertain chapter in Venezuelan politics, with questions remaining about the country's governance, economic stability, and international relations. The U.S. operation has drawn widespread international attention, with UN ambassadors and foreign governments expressing concern over the legality and potential consequences of Maduro's capture. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has urged the international community to respect the political independence of states following the recent U.S. operation in Venezuela that led to the capture of President Maduro. Speaking at the UN Security Council, Under Secretary General Rosemary DiCarlo read a statement on behalf of Guterres, emphasizing that the UN calls for the respect of states' political independence and sovereignty in response to actions that would escalate tensions.
In situations as confused as complex as the one we now face, it is important to stick to principles. Respect for the UN Charter and all other applicable legal frameworks to safeguard peace and security. Respect for the principles of sovereignty, political independence, and territorial integrity of states. The prohibition of the threat or use of force. The power of the law must prevail. International law contains tools to address issues such as illicit traffic in narcotics, disputes about resources, and human rights concerns. This is the route we need to take.
Security Council members continue to monitor the situation, with discussions expected to focus on regional stability, humanitarian concerns, and potential diplomatic responses. Whereas the United States defended its controversial operation in Venezuela at a UN Security Council meeting, with Ambassador Mike Olds asserting President Trump had given diplomacy a chance before resorting to force. He said the operation was preceded by multiple off-ramps offered to Maduro to avoid confrontation.
The United States will not waver in our actions to protect Americans from the scourge of narco-terrorism and seeks peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela. I thank you, Mr. President. You can't turn Venezuela into the operating hub for Iran, for Hezbollah, for gangs, for Cuban intelligence agents, and other malign actors that control that country. You cannot continue to have the largest energy reserves in the world under the control of adversaries of the United States, under the control of illegitimate leaders, and not benefiting the people of Venezuela, and stolen by a handful of oligarchs inside of Venezuela.
South Korea's President Lee Jae-myung has called for a new phase in ties with China as he met Chinese leader Xi Jinping in Beijing on Monday. Regional security and lifting Beijing's unofficial ban on Korean pop culture was high on Lee's agenda as he continues his 4-day trip in China. It marks the first official visit by a South Korean leader since 2019. Bilateral ties had bettered under Lee's predecessor, impeached ex-president Yoon Suk-yeol, who was critical of China. Xi, meanwhile, has appeared keen to shore up ties with South Korea amid a diplomatic row between China and Japan. Villagers living in hill forest along Bangladesh's border with Myanmar are facing serious risk from landmines left over the conflict in neighboring Myanmar. One of the victims, 40-year-old Ali Hussein, lost limbs in early 2025 while collecting firewood when he triggered a hidden explosive device. Local officials and humanitarian groups say incidents like Hussein's are part of a wider pattern affecting communities in the region, where abandoned landmines and unexploded devices remain a threat to civilians. Officials have called for an increased mine clearance operation and public awareness campaigns to prevent further injuries. Humanitarian organizations continue to provide medical support and rehabilitation services to victims of landmine accidents along the border areas. Aid groups warn that the hilly border region remains heavily contaminated with mines, making daily activities such as farming and collecting firewood extremely dangerous. Local residents say they often rely on impoverished paths to avoid suspected minefields, but accidents continue to occur. The Bangladeshi government has urged international support for demining programs and victim assistance in the affected border areas. Uber has unveiled a custom robotaxi equipped with new automated driving capabilities, signaling the company's next step in autonomous ride-hailing technology. The vehicle, based on Mercedes CLA, can accelerate, brake, and steer on its own, while the human driver maintains a light touch on the steering wheel. The system is powered by an onboard NVIDIA computer, which handles real-time driving decisions and safety monitoring. Uber said the robotaxi is being prepared for trials in San Francisco, where it will operate in a controlled environment before wider deployment. The demonstration underscores the growing competition in the autonomous vehicle market as tech companies and automakers race to bring self-driving cars to urban streets. Uber did not provide a specific timeline for full commercial rollout, but emphasized that safety and regulatory compliance remain top priorities. The side effects seen in children who are exposed to excessive screen time as infants can be reversed through measures like increased social and physical interaction, according to a recent study. Early intervention and positive lifestyle changes can help rewire developing brains, according to scientists who spearheaded the 10-year-long study that was released last week. High screen exposure between birth and 2 years old is linked to slower decision-making and increased anxiety later in life, according to the researchers from the National University of Singapore. The researchers tracked about 170 children born in 2009 over more than a decade, beginning from birth. Brain scans were taken at various stages of the children's development to study the long-term impact of early screen exposure. The study found that for children up to 2 years old, each additional hour of screen time was linked to them being 25% slower at decision-making by age 8.5. By their teenage years, the children also showed higher anxiety symptoms. These effects were observed across all socio-economic backgrounds. Following a heavy snowfall, the path of Muradia waterfalls in Turkey has frozen, becoming a major attraction for visitors. The cold weather has transformed the waterfall into a stunning winter landscape, drawing both local and foreign tourists. Located in Muradia district of Van province, the waterfall offers a different kind of beauty in every season. As year temperatures drop to as low as -10 degrees Celsius, the 18-meter-high Muradia waterfall has frozen. The winter scenery has caught the attention of nature lovers and photographers. Local officials say visitor numbers have increased in recent days as weather conditions stabilized after the snowfall. Officials urged visitors to exercise caution due to icy surfaces around the waterfall. Tourism operators noted that the winter visits have become increasingly popular in the region. The Muradia waterfall remains accessible, with municipal teams carrying out safety and maintenance checks. China's 42nd Antarctic expedition has moved into full-scale scientific operations, deploying drones and delivering vital supplies across its polar stations. Geological surveys are progressing smoothly in the outer area surrounding Zhongshan Station. To enhance data collection, researchers have been deploying drone-mounted hyperspectral imaging technology capturing multidimensional optical data of the terrain. Meanwhile, the icebreaker Shuilong successfully completed a logistic mission at Qingling Station after arriving at the station on the evening of December 28, delivering more than 1,400 tons of supplies. The vessel has since departed and is currently en route to New Zealand, where it will begin the oceanic operations phase. The expedition set sail from Shanghai on November 1, 2023, kicking off a 19-month scientific mission that will continue through May 2026. Qingling Station, China's 5th Antarctic research station, began operation on February 7, 2024. Built in 1989, Zhongshan Station is China's second permanent research property in Antarctica. Thousands of residents and tourists gathered in central Madrid of Spain to watch the traditional Three Kings Parade, one of Spain's most anticipated annual celebrations. The parade features the arrival of the three wise men who, according to the tradition, brings gifts to children across the country. Colorful floats, music and performances filled the city center as crowds lined the streets. The Three Kings Parade is considered a highlight of the holiday season in Spain, particularly for children, for whom the night marks the symbolic delivery of gifts. Officials deployed the additional security and traffic controls to manage the large turnout, while public transport services were extended to accommodate visitors. In early 2026, Mukang Chai district in Yên Bai province has attracted thousands of visitors from Vietnam as seasonal festivals and peak flower blooms draw strong interest in highland tourism. The district is currently hosting the Ken Mong Festival alongside the Tuzig Flower Festival, coinciding with the peak blooming period of Tuze flowers. The flowers are in full bloom across hillsides and villages, becoming a major attraction for visitors during the early spring period. Favorable weather conditions this year have contributed to even and vibrant blossoms, helping to trigger a surge in tourist arrivals. This year, the Flower Festival has been organized along the opening ceremony of the Ken Mong Festival and a series of cultural activities welcoming spring 2026. Officials expect the combination of favorable weather, cultural festivals, and a strong online promotion to continue driving visitors' numbers to the province throughout the spring tourism season. Thousands of spectators lined the streets of South Africa's Cape Town on Monday to watch the city's annual Cape, a long-standing cultural event rooted in the city's history of slavery. Large troops of minstrels marched through the city center wearing bright satin costumes, dancing to the accompaniment of brass bands. Many performers carried umbrellas and walking sticks, which are traditional elements of the parade. The event, also known as the Kaapse Kloof, tracks its origins to the 19th century when enslaved and freed people in Cape Town used music and performance as a form of cultural expression. Today, the parade remains a significant celebration for the city's communities. City authorities say security and traffic measures were put in place along the parade route to ensure the safety of performers and spectators. The parade is held annually during the New Year period and continues to attract large crowds of local residents and visitors, contributing to Cape Town's cultural calendar and tourism appeal.
सदा भवानी दाहिन रे, सदा भवानी दाहिन रे, सिद्ध न करे गणेश।
The indigenous community of the Tarai Plains of Nepal. The Tharu community settled in the dense forests of Tarai and transformed it into a granary. The Tharu folk literature and folk cultural heritages reflect the prehistoric human civilization to the modern-day Tharu civilization. The traditional houses, clay-made utensils, wooden items, tribal words and use of tantric phrases exemplify it. From Mechi in the east to Mahakali in the west and the Inner Tarai region, this community has dense presence. Acknowledging the fact that all Tharus of Nepal are not of the same origin on basis of culture, Dang district is considered as the main place of origin of all Tharus except the Rana Tharus and Kataria Tharu of Kanchanpur district. Western Tarai, though geographically not so big, can be taken as the Tharu Cultural Museum, as more than half of Tharu population of Nepal inhabit in this limited area. Rana Tharu, Kataria Tharu and Dangora Tharu hold a distinct identity in the Western Tarai Plains. Above this, Dang Valley being the main origin of most of the Tharus, the Tharu culture here has preserved the cultural heritages of the overall Tharus of Western Nepal. The malaria eradication program and land reform program run in Nepal attracted other cultural communities of neighboring hills to the Western Tarai Plains. The Tharus living exclusively and independently with their cultural traditions opted to migrate to Banke, Bardia, Kailali, Kanchanpur and Surkhet Valley, with the increase of an ambience of coexistence with other communities. With the trend of migration rising, the Tharus were reduced to minority in their native land. Nonetheless, they were successful in retaining and conserving their cultural heritage that originated in the soils of Western Plains. The lifelong folk dance, traditions and festivities are the examples of their cultural preservation. The Tharus have successfully kept alive traditional practices, spirit, mutual unity and harmony, which are an eminent part of their lives today as well.
Tharus are the indigenous tribes of this place. We have our own typical cultural norms and values, including our own music and culture. Starting from the monsoon season, Tharus rejoice in their own cultural festivals that have their own traditional music. Agriculture is our main occupation, and we are known as hard-working people. Nepal is very rich in cultural diversity, but Tharu culture has its own uniqueness. I believe preserving Tharu culture could be a boon in developing tourism as well in this region. However, it is very important to preserve and promote Tharu culture, especially among the youths. Proper planning and programs to preserve and promote Tharu culture from the government is a must.
Tharu festivals, culture, traditions and practices are special and significant. As the Tharus were able to retain their traditions, their cultures have become lifelong, which indeed reflects their originality. In the cultural perspective, every month holds significance for the Tharu community. Magh 1st of the Nepali lunar calendar, culturally known as Maghi, is the special day for the Tharus. Maghi is not only a festival for them, it is the beginning of a new fiscal year. A special exhilaration and fervour infuses the homes of every Tharu during the Maghi festival. Mahatwa, or village leader, is elected on this very day in consensus of all sides based on work efficiency, aptitude and capacity. Resolving the problems of the village to the managerial aspects is the responsibility of the Mahatwa. Mahatwa actually is more an organization in a Tharu village than an individual. The village leadership is taken as a higher traditional practice in the Tharu autonomous ruling system.
We normally play the role of a facilitator in mediating whenever there are disputes among people of our community. The Matau, or the local chief, has to take the lead whenever there are accidents like death in our community. Sometimes there are disputes between people of different villages. The Matau needs to take the lead in settling them as well, almost like a judge. On cases of land proportion division to kamayas or the bonded labourers, people can give their opinion, but the final decision is taken by the Matau. In marriages also, the witness has to be the Matau. Later, if the couple has any problems, the Matau needs to be the one to settle their dispute.
The village senior, or Agua, on the instruction of Mahatwa, asks all the villagers to be present at Mahatwa's residence on the eve of Maghi. Khyala is the village council of Tharus, where every decision is taken in consensus of all sides. Tharus share a close bonding with nature, and their folk life exemplifies this connection. During the Maghi, they reach the jungles to pick the leaves and collect timber before dawn. Some go for fishing, as fish is the speciality of Tharu dishes. The male members of the community come together for preparing pork meat. While the Tharu women get busy in cooking delicious dishes like tikri and making alcohol at home. This kind of cultural activities is not only a necessity, but also a higher degree of practice of unity and teamwork within a village. Magh 1st of Nepali calendar, around mid-January, or the day of Maghi festival. The rays of the sun are yet to fall on earth. The riverbanks are crowded by people taking a holy dip. Songs can be heard playing in the background. Water-filled pots or kalash are placed by villagers on either sides of the road as a gesture of extending greetings, while these footsteps return towards villages from rivers to the tunes of the music. Sprinkling the holy water of kalash, a group of elderly reach the home of Mahatwa to extend greetings and for Maghi assembly. They take a seat after greeting him. Gardhuria, or the households, elect the new leader on this very day. The assembly concludes after reviewing the overall activities of the previous year and chalking out the new plans for the new year. This is followed by feast and dance. Women perform the traditional Tharu dance of Maghauta. Maghi is soon followed by another festival, Hori, that falls on the Nepali month of Fagun around February and March. This festival is celebrated by the Tharus ritualistically. Among the various rituals, the ritual of sparking fire after rubbing timber of Ganyari species reflects their primitiveness. The holy fire is using for lighting ablaze the pole. The fire used for lighting the pole is taken to home by every Gardhurya and kept safely. The same fire is used for cooking the food throughout the year. Fag, that is sung marking this occasion, has lusty lines. In the ancient times, it was called Madan Utsav, or festivity of lust or passion. Hence, the month of Fagun in the Nepali lunar calendar is a wedding month for the Tharus. Following the agreement by the family of the girl and the boy for their marriage, Tekoni, a ritual of give and take, is marked.
ऊपर बद्रीबा तर धरतीबा एक भी लौटबान नहीं करबे ना नहीं कर
On the wedding day, Diuli Darna, a special ritual is marked at the bridegroom's home. The Mahatwa robes a scarf on his head, which is called Pagya. The groom takes out Barchi from his native worship place, Duhar. Taking the Barchi is a symbol of war culture for the bride. While heading to the bride's home, The groom is offered sweet delicacies by his neighbors. The groom then sits on a dola, a wooden carrier, and reaches the bride's home. The bride's mother welcomes the groom with kalash on her hands and circumambulates the groom thrice. The sister-in-laws wash the feet of the groom. The wedding guests from the groom's side enjoy the feast. Tears well in the eyes of bride as she is bidden farewell by her family members. The bride is then carried on the dola to the groom's house. Bhojinya sprinkles rice grains on the yard. A pot full of fire is placed in front of the bride and groom. First the groom, then the bride steps on the fire and reach the duhar. Folk belief has it that stepping on the fire by the newlyweds means accepting each other, keeping the god of fire as a witness. The sisters of the groom then take certain amount as a gift and clear the way for the newlyweds. Bhojinya then receives them and collides groom's head with the bride's. Then she asks the bride to oil massage the groom's feet. After the feast, the celebration continues amid singing and dancing, performing traditional chokra and jhumra dance.
विशेषतः पश्चिम नेपालको थारू समुदायमा धेरैजसो
The culturally rich Tharu community of Western Nepal is backward in social and economic fronts. The government must come up with concrete programs to promote Tharu culture right from the local level to the international level. This can be a medium for the social and economic upliftment of the Tharu people. We have launched a campaign to preserve the cultural heritages of Tharu community in Dang, Banke, Bardia, Kailali, Kanchanpur and Surkhet districts.
The Nepali month of Chaitra and Baisakh, or the spring season, is the season of going to the jungles for collecting timber and fodder. The men and women together go to the jungles. They sing Sajana Maina Tharu folk songs while picking leaves or collecting timber. The word Sajana comes from the Hindi language and indicates the folk song has a high amount of love and passion, while Maina is the folk song in which the lovers or a girl expresses her inner feelings, symbolizing the bird Maina as a medium. Among the folk cultural rituals of Tharus, the special ritual of Rath Lausarna and Dhurra Lausarna are considered important and are held by Dharhaya Guruwa for maternal and neonatal health in the Nepali month of Jesta and Kartik. This ritual is one of the Tharu folk treatment methods done through tantric medium. Saptamatrika is worshipped during this ritual. According to nature science, with the change in each season, the favorable and unfavorable effects of the seasonal change are seen in humans, animal, and the entire environment. Among the rituals carried out to protect oneself from those bad effects, Durya Guryai and Harya Guryai, carried out annually, are considered important worship rituals. After the Dhurya Guryai that is organized in the month of Jesta, the band music Harya Guryai in the month of Bhadra. The main priest Deshbandhya Gurua and his assistant Keshoka Gurua worship the main god and goddesses Chavaharwa and Dahar Chandi, established in rural religious places, Bhuyarasthan, chanting mantras, wishing for good health and freeing environment of pollution. The Tharus share a close relation with the forest, and as tiger inhabits in the forest, it is worshipped as Bagreshi goddess in Tharu folk culture. The Deshbandhya Gurua offer eggs as part of the ritual of Bagresi Devi. The Deshbandhya Gurua reinforces his faith towards rural gods and goddesses by performing fire dance, and he performs this dance through the help of Keshoka Gurua to awaken the gods and goddesses who are asleep from Durya Guryai. There is a folk belief that the classical tunes of traditional musical instrument madal used during the fire dance eventually chases the evil spirit away. Krishna Ashtami is another significant festival of the Tharus. On this very day, Lord Krishna is worshipped by putting on a huge tika. Thus, the birthday of Lord Krishna is called Astimki. Folk anecdote has it that the Tharu folk artists have this way depicted the story from Stone Age to the Dwapar Age through the paintings. Each painting has its own story. Folk belief has it that the first man of Tharu ethnicity, Gubarba, sitting on the boat, saved himself and his epics by riding on a boat during the end of each age, known as Yug. The images depicted in the painting that are of the evolution stages of fishes, crabs, earthworms, stories of the 5 Pandavas and Draupadi, among others, showcase the Tharu folk cultural history. All in all, this is a painting filled with Tharu folk philosophy. Dasai or the Dashya is the other important festival of the Tharus. The Tharus have a tradition of holding special worships for the deceased ancestors during this festival. The wife of the Mahatwa prepares a special kind of delicacy, dhikri, for offering it as a prasad or offering to the deceased ancestors. The Mahatwa at the worship place of his residence, Dewhar, offer these special delicacies to the deceased ancestors and the clan of gods and goddesses. After offering all these delicacies, the Dewhar room has to be left in silence. The sacrifice of a wax gourd is taken as an alternative to the existing practice of sacrificing since ancient age. Men, women and youths assemble at the residence of Mahatwa in Dasai to receive tika, blessings and exchange greetings. Tharus have a tradition of putting on a white tika, and it is taken as a practice that began when colors were not created and as a symbol of peace. There is a culture of performing Sakhya and Paya dance from Krishnastami to Dasai in the Tharu culture. In the Sakhya dance, the male members playing the madal play the role of Krishna, while the female dancers role play Radha. Therefore, this dance is performed in two forms, Giti along with a song and a Giti without a song. This dance is performed in 22 musical beats. However, these beats are now in the verge of extinction.
Demonstrative art is an integral part of folk Tharu culture. Sakhya and Paiya folk dances performed during Dasai festival are some examples. It is believed that these folk dances have up to 22 different beats. However, today we hardly find musicians and dancers who can play or perform all these 22 different beats. Only limited beats are performed these days. This demands further research and preservation efforts. Likewise, the Tharu folk literature is equally rich in romanticism. They are found in abundance in Tharu folklores and songs.
The main occupation of Tharu is agriculture. They enjoy in the fields and prefer to toil there. They seek the base of their livelihood through agriculture. They are pursuing their life ahead by being close to the nature. The Tharus believe in traditional values, hence believe the Barka dance should be performed if natural disasters occur. The Mahatawa for the same calls village assembly or Khyala. The Barka dance is organized as per the decision of the Khyala. The Barka, that is a folk musical Tharu drama with Tharu folk philosophies, starts with pious steps of various gods and goddesses and concludes with a sequence of Kurukshetra war from the Mahabharata epic and the ascent to heaven. At the end of the dance, the dancers in guise of 5 Pandavas and Draupadi hide their weapons under the Shami tree, which is believed is a depiction of Pandavas going to the Virat kingdom during their incognito stay or the Agyatbas. As per the Tharu folk belief, keeping the akshata used in this dance with oneself will protect one from evil eyes and spirits and helps in curing various illnesses. There is a local belief that touching the bamboo pole that is a symbol of Shiva Lingam or the phallic symbol of Hindu god Shiva relieves oneself from various physical pains. The Tharu culture that is based on self-identity is at present on the verge of extinction. A generation gap is developing between the older and the younger Tharu generation. Changes are but natural. However, extinction of intangible cultural elements means loss of existence of self-identity, to which community concerned should be sensitive.
Nepal's Election Commission begins printing sample ballots for March 5 election. Around 1 million sample ballots to be printed in first phase. Nepali Congress decides to forge alliances with other parties for the National Assembly election. Candidate selection to be finalized on Wednesday. Nepal approves ethanol blended petrol after 17 years of delay. Move aims to boost clean energy, local farming and cut fuel imports. Armed police patrol streets of Venezuela's capital. Dozens of military checkpoints are installed across the city. Thailand accuses Cambodia of violating a 10-day-old truce, saying cross-border mortar fire wounded a soldier. And Nepal announces 15-member squad for ICC T20 World Cup 2026 under Rohit Paudil's captaincy. 2 new faces added. Good evening, I am Iprila Singh Lama. This is NTV World News Hour coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepal time. Now the news in details. The Election Commission has started printing sample ballots for the March 5 House of Representatives election, beginning with around 1 million samples for the proportional representation system at the Janak Education Materials Center in Bhaktapur. The sample printing will finish in 2 days, after which actual ballots, 20.85 million in total, about 10% more than registered voters, will be printed. The Commission aims to complete all ballot printing by January 23rd. The Nepali Congress NC has resolved to form alliances with other political parties for the upcoming National Assembly election on January 25. The decision was made during a meeting of the NC Central Work Execution Committee today. Party spokesperson Dr. Prakash Sharan Mahat stated that once the alliances are finalized, the candidate selection, including cluster nominations, will be determined in a meeting set for Wednesday. More on election works along with parties' preparations for the polls in our issue of the day segment later in the bulletin. Nepal has officially approved the use of ethanol-blended petrol, a proposal that had been under consideration for 17 years. On Monday, the Cabinet passed Order 2082 permitting the mixing of ethanol, a plant-based biomass-derived fuel, with petrol, among other measures. This move brings Nepal in line with countries like India, the United States and Brazil, where ethanol-blended fuels are already widely used. Ethanol will mainly be produced from sugarcane, molasses and cassava, supporting local agriculture, promoting cleaner energy and reducing the need for petrol imports. We will look into the details of this decision in our cover story segment. Now, armed police are seen patrolling the streets of Venezuela's capital, Caracas. President Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores were seized from their Caracas compound on Saturday and flown to the U.S. as part of a special forces operation. Meanwhile, demonstrators rally in the streets of Caracas demanding the release of deposed President Nicolas Maduro after his capture by U.S. forces and to show the support for the inauguration of a new legislative year in Venezuela. Delcy Rodriguez, who was Maduro's vice president, has been sworn in as the country's interim president, and her brother, George Rodriguez, re-elected as parliament head. Thailand accused Cambodia of violating a 10-day-old truce on Tuesday, saying cross-border mortar fire wounded a soldier, while Phnom Penh said a pile of garbage exploded, injuring two of its own troops. A decades-old border dispute between the Southeast Asian nations erupted into military clashes several times last year, with fighting in December killing dozens of people and displacing around 1 million on both sides. The two countries agreed a fragile truce on December 27, ending 3 weeks of clashes. The Thai military said it warned Cambodian forces to exercise caution, stressing if a similar incident occurred, Thailand may need to retaliate. Cambodia's Defense Ministry spokesperson, Mali Sochieta, said two soldiers were injured, one severely this morning in Cambodia's Priyavayer province, which sits opposite Thailand's Ubon Ratchathani. The Cricket Association of Nepal, CAN, has announced a 15-member squad for the ICC T20 World Cup 2026 to be hosted jointly by India and Sri Lanka. Rohit Paudel will lead the team as captain. Young talents Sher Malla and Basir Ahmad have earned their first call-ups to the national side. The squad also includes key players Dipinder Singh Airi, Sandeep Lamichhane, Kushal Bhurtel and Sompal Khami. The T20 World Cup is being held from 7th February to March 8 jointly in India and Sri Lanka. It features 20 teams across 8 venues over 29 days. Nepal is in Group C alongside England, West Indies, Italy and Bangladesh. We'll go for a short break here. After the break, a special coverage on Election Commission and parties' works for the House of Representatives polls slated for March in our issue of the day segment. You're watching NTV World News Hour. Time for issue of the day. The Election Commission has started printing sample ballots from today for the House of Representatives elections scheduled to be held on March 5. According to the Commission, the printing of sample ballots for the proportional representation system has begun after completing all necessary preparations. The sample ballots are being printed at the Janak Education Materials Center in Bhaktapur. The center informed that the printing of sample ballots will be completed within 2 days, after which the printing of actual proportional representation ballot paper will begin. In the first phase, printing has begun for around 1 million sample ballots and 20.85 million proportional representation ballots as determined by the Election Commission. It follows the practice of printing about 10% more ballots than the total number of registered voters. The Election Commission has set a target to complete the printing of all ballots by January 23rd. Home Minister Om Prakash Aryal has held talks with provincial chief secretaries focusing on election security ahead of the House of Representatives polls. During the meeting, he instructed provincial administrators and security chiefs to ensure peace and security for the March 5 election. Discussions also covered the current security situation, crime control and border security. The Home Minister emphasized coordination among security agencies and government bodies, saying officials must fulfill their responsibilities to guarantee a calm and peaceful election environment. Home Secretary Rajkumar Shrestha also stressed the need for effective coordination and cooperation from political parties to ensure smooth conduct of the elections. CPN-UML has deployed all its office bearers and central members for the upcoming House of Representatives elections.
Feeling uncertain about the election following Gen Z movement, CPN-UML has now decided to fully engage in the election. The party secretariat meeting has decided to deploy party office bearers and all central members for election-related duties. Under the coordination of Chairperson KP Sharma Oli, the party has formed a draft committee for the General Election Manifesto, while under the coordination of Vice Chair Ram Bahadur Thapa, a committee has been formed to manage election operations. The decision to mobilize the party for elections comes right after the commission formed to investigate Gen Z movement decided to lift the restriction on the then Prime Minister and CPN-UML Chair KP Sharma Oli. Alongside preparations for the House of Representatives election, UML has also tasked Party Chair Oli with finalizing candidates for the National Assembly election. CPN-UML is to contest the elections while continuing to push for the reinstatement of the lower house, a case currently under review by the Supreme Court. With the party which led the government during the Gen Z movement now fully focused on the polls, experts opine the election atmosphere across the country has grown even more charged.
Nepali Congress NC has decided to forge alliance with other political parties in the National Assembly election to be held on coming January 25. A meeting of the NC Central Work Execution Committee today took the decision. Party spokesperson Dr. Prakash Sharan Mahat said after finalizing the alliances, the selection of candidates including cluster nominations will be decided in a meeting scheduled for Wednesday.
अहिले अब मोटामोटी समझदारी बन्या छ क्लस्टर सहित हाम्रा उम्मेदवारहरु चाहिँ को हुन्छन् भन्ने कुरा अन्तिम मिटिङमा तय हुन्छ हाम्रो यो तालमेल पछि कांग्रेसको कुन क्याटेगोरीमा कुन क्लस्टरमा को पर्यो भन्ने पनि थाहा भइहाल्छ.
Those were our stories in Issue of the Day segment. We'll go for another break here. After the break, we will delve into Nepal government's latest decision to add ethanol in petrol and what it looks like. watching NTV World News Hour. Welcome back. Nepal has finally approved the use of ethanol-blended petrol, a plan that had been pending for 17 years. The Cabinet on Monday approved Order 2082, allowing ethanol, a biomass-based fuel derived from plants, to be mixed with petrol, among other decisions.
पेट्रोलमा इथानोल मिश्रण गरी प्रयोगमा ल्याउने सम्बन्धी आदेश 2082 स्वीकृत गर्ने निर्णय भएको छ।
Nepal's decision to approve the use of ethanol-blended petrol aligns it with other countries, India, the United States and Brazil, where ethanol-blended fuels are already common. In Nepal, ethanol will be primarily produced from sugarcane, molasses and cassava, boosting domestic agriculture while promoting cleaner energy and reducing petrol imports. Here's a look by Bijeta Bhandari.
The idea of mixing ethanol into petrol can initially raise questions. What kind of alcohol can be added to engine fuel? Will it make vehicles more efficient or damage the engines? On Monday, after years of delay, the Cabinet authorized the use of ethanol blended in petrol, opening the way for fuel mixed with up to 10% ethanol, commonly known as the E10 fuel. Ethanol is a renewable chemical produced from grains or plant materials. In Nepal, technical experts say ethanol can be produced mainly from sugarcane molasses and cassava, both of which are available for domestic production. For Nepal, a blend of 90% petrol and 10% ethanol has been recommended in the first phase. The Ministry of Industry, Commerce and Supplies says it is preparing the necessary procedures and aims to implement the policy within the next year. Because ethanol will be produced domestically, Nepal Oil Corporation estimates it will not be more expensive than petrol.
यो internationally चाहिँ practice मा आइसकेको छ। यो नयाँ हाम्रो लागि नयाँ भए तापनि अन्य मुलुकहरुमा इभन इन्डियामा पनि जहाँ चाहिँ आफ्नै पेट्रोलियम पदार्थ छ हामीलाई सप्लाई गरिरहेको देशले पनि इथानलको प्रयोग पेट्रोलमा मिश्रण गरेर प्रयोग गरिरहेको छ।
Experts say ethanol blending offers several advantages. First, it can stimulate domestic production of crops like sugarcane and cassava, helping increase investment and employment in both agriculture and industry. Second, ethanol blending can support Nepal's climate commitments by reducing carbon emissions. According to the Nepal Academy of Science and Technology, petrol vehicles currently in use in Nepal can tolerate ethanol blending of up to 20%, although the government plans to begin at lower levels. But how prepared is Nepal to meet the supply and quality demands of such a transition?
प्रयोगशालाको स्तरोन्नति गर्ने, उपकरणहरू थप्ने, गुणस्तरको परीक्षण गर्न सक्ने सुविधा नेपाल भित्रै भयो भने हामीले लिएर आइराखेको पेट्रोल कस्तो गुणस्तरको छ, हामीले मिसाएपछि हुने गुणस्तर कस्तो हुने र कुन लेभलको इथानोल अथवा अल्कोहलमा पानीको मात्रा कति, अल्कोहल कति प्रतिशत छ, अल्कोहलमा पनि इथानोल कति, मिथानोल कति, यी सबै चीज टेस्ट गर्न सक्ने खालको त्यस्तो एउटा संस्थागत संरचना जो जरुरी छ।
This policy is not new. Nepal had made provisions to allow ethanol blending in petroleum products as early as 2008, but the plan was never implemented. Globally, ethanol blending is already common. In India, petrol with up to 20% ethanol is being rolled out nationwide. All models of vehicles sold in the United States can use E10. According to Bloomberg reports, from 2023 to 2025, flex fuel vehicles dominate the Brazilian market, constituting approximately 84.5% of all vehicle sales as of 2025. For Nepal, as it seeks entry into this global club towards cleaner automotive fuels, the challenge now lies in the execution.
That was our cover story of the day. Moving on, the provincial head of Kosi province, Parsuram Kapung, has reshuffled the provincial cabinet and administered the oath of office to new ministers and state ministers on the recommendation of Chief Minister Hikmat Kumar Karki. This includes Minister for Physical Infrastructure Development Pradeep Kumar Sunwar, Minister for Tourism, Forest and Environment Bhim Parajuli, Minister for Drinking Water, Irrigation and Energy Tilachan Pathak, Minister for Internal Affairs and Law Indramani Parajuli, Minister for Finance and Planning Bidur Kumar Lingtev, Minister for Social Development Ram Prasad Mahato, Minister for Health Man Bahadur Limbu, and Minister for Industry, Agriculture and Cooperatives Israel Mansouri. Likewise, State Ministers Shobha Chemjung for Physical Infrastructure Development and Umakant Gautam for Internal Affairs and Law also were sworn in. The curfew in Birganj imposed since Sunday has been lifted after a 5-point agreement among protesting groups. Life has returned to normal with vehicles running and markets reopened. The consensus reached following tensions over mosque vandalism in Dhanusa and social media-driven violence includes commitments to avoid protest over incidents elsewhere without prior permission and submission of a memorandum to the chief district officer. A permanent mechanism will also be formed to prevent activities disrupting religious and social harmony, including representatives from political parties, religious communities, civil society, and the media. The agreement was reached in an all-party meeting attended by local officials, security heads, and community leaders. A massive fire broke out at a timber warehouse in Goirigao, Kathmandu. The warehouse operated by Ishwar Karki caught fire and the flames spread to cause damage to the nearby Loyola school. Firefighters from Kathmandu, Lalitpur, Bhaktapur as well as the airport and security agencies used water tankers to bring the fire under control. Additionally, the Nepal Armed Police Force, Nepal Police and Municipal Police of Kathmandu were deployed to contain the blaze. Ramesh Thapa, Senior Superintendent of Police and Chief of the District Police, Kathmandu, stated that the fire started from the timber warehouse and also caused damage to a nearby school. The cause of the fire and the full extent of the damage are yet to be determined. Files of more than 10,000 cases that were burnt at Supreme Court during Gen Z movement have been recovered. Out of 24,000 cases files at SC, 20,000 case files were burnt in the arson attack that took place during the Gen Z movement on September 8 and 9, 2025. Supreme Court spokesperson Niranjan Pandey said files of 10,340 cases have been recovered till January 5. The Apex Court had urged the Office of the Attorney General, Nepal Bar Association and with the parties to concerned cases to provide files of the cases which were destroyed. Activities are underway to collect the files of those cases from the Office of the Attorney General, Nepal Bar Association and with the parties to concerned cases accordingly. Now, rabies cases are rapidly increasing in Nepal's Sudur Paschim province, posing a growing public health threat. In just the first 5 months of the current fiscal year, more than 10,500 people were attacked by wild animals and stray dogs. Several victims did not survive. Health experts warned that the deadly disease could spread further among both humans and animals if urgent preventive measures are not taken. Our colleague Rojina Rai with our local correspondent Dinesh Bister explained more on the matter.
Sudur Paschim province in Nepal is facing a growing public health crisis as rabies infections among humans and animals rise sharply. The disease, primarily spread through bites from stray dogs and wild animals, has become a major concern across the province. Legal protections for wild animals are considered a key reason for their increasing presence near human settlements, which has led to a rise in animal bite incidents and heightened risk to human life. Tragically, the disease has already claimed several lives, including a recent case of a 70-year-old woman, highlighting the escalating threat. According to the Provincial Health Directorate, 10,500 people were bitten by dogs and wild animals in the just first 5 months of the current fiscal year, compared to 14,800 cases reported in the entire previous year. Kailali, one of the province's major districts, alone has recorded over 4,000 hospitals visit due to animal bites.
संवेदनशीलता कम गर्नका लागि जो साउन पानीले तुरुन्तै हैन धारा पानीमा लगेर घाउ जहाँ भएको छ त्यसलाई सफा गर्ने र जतिसक्दो चाहिँ त्यो धारामा बगाइरहने घाउलाई, जसले गर्दा चाहिँ भाइरसको संख्या कम हुन सक्छ र चाहिँ इन्ट्री हुन दिँदैन। यो चाहिँ के हो भने तुरुन्तै गरिहाल्नुपर्ने त्यो घाउलाई पनि तुरुन्तै पट्टीले बान्ने भन्दा पनि त्यसलाई सफा गरिसकेपछि अनि पल्ल चाहिँ एन्टिसेप्टिक लगाएर अनि चाहिँ त्यसलाई घाउलाई चाहिँ सफा गर्ने.
The Animal Disease Investigation Laboratory in Thangari reported 136 confirmed rabies cases out of 170 samples tested last fiscal year. Additionally, 18 animals have died of rabies in just the past month. Veterinarian emphasized that rabies is nearly always fatal but entirely preventable if a post-bite care is administered immediately. In light of the rising number of fatal cases, doctors and animal health experts urge residents to report any animal showing abnormal behavior, aggressive biting, or excessive salivation. Health authorities also stressed the importance of regular vaccination of domestic animals, monitoring stray dogs and wild animals, expanding vaccination programs for free-roaming dogs, and raising public awareness. Rosina Rai with local correspondent Dinesh Bista, Kailali, Nepal.
Now, in this context, in our public pulse segment, we had asked how the spread of rabies can be controlled. Here's what they had to say.
विशेष गरेर यो स्थानीय तह र प्रदेश सरकारहरूले चाहिँ अलिकति आफ्नो कामको दायरा, आफ्नो जिम्मेवारीलाई अलिकति जवाफदेही र उत्तरदायीपूर्ण ढङ्गको काम गर्नु पर्यो. अब यो रेबिज भ्याक्सिन त अब अहिले नर्मली पनि छ, जस्तो छाडा कुकुरहरूको व्यवस्थापनको कुरा होस् हैन, या चाहिँ अलिकति यसको जनचेतनाको कुरा पनि अलिकति व्यापकै भएको छ. त्यसले गर्दाखेरि अलिकति स्थानीय तहहरू र विशेष गरेर प्रदेश सरकार चाहिँ अलिकति यो नागरिकप्रति उत्तरदायी र जवाफदेही पनि नबढेको हुनसक्छ हैन, नत्र भए यो चाहिँ सामान्य व्यवस्थापन गर्दा पनि हुने कुरा हो.
रेबिज रोग लागिसकेपछि हामीले निको भएर फेरि पुनर्स्थापित लाइफ अथवा पहिलाको जस्तो लाइफ बिताउला भन्ने सम्भव छैन. त्यसैले त्यो कुराको लागि हामीले सबैभन्दा बढी सजग हुनु जरुरी छ र यसको लागि हामीले समुदाय स्तरबाट अथवा पालिका स्तरबाट अथवा सबैजनाले यसको लागि सबैले हातेमालो गर्ने हो भने चाहिँ यो सम्भव छ. अन्यथा यसबाट चाहिँ हामीले जो कोही पनि समस्या हुन सक्छ, विशेष गरी चाहिँ वृद्ध केटाकेटी अशक्त मान्छेहरू जो भल्नरेबल ग्रुपहरू छ नि, यसबाट चाहिँ बढी पीडित हुने सम्भावना देखिन्छ.
समुदायमा धेरै छाडा प्रवृत्तिमा छाडेका गाईबस्तुहरू र कुकुरजन्य जनावरबाट यो रोग अति नै छिटो फैलिने हुन्छ र यो कुकुरहरू अव्यवस्थित रूपमा फैलिएको र यिनीहरूले जहाँ पाए त्यही अव्यवस्थित रूपमा मासुहरूको लाग्दा, आफ्नो आहारको लाग्दा सबै जनावरहरूलाई आक्रमण गर्ने गर्छन् र योबाट बच्नलाई हामीले सर्वप्रथम त कुकुर व्यवस्थापनको एउटा पाटो नै अपनाउनु मलाई धेरै उपयुक्त लाग्छ.
यसलाई न्यूनीकरण गर्नका लागि छाडा पशु चौपायाहरूको व्यवस्थापन गर्ने, तिनीहरूलाई नियन्त्रण गर्ने, रेबिज लागेको शङ्का लागेका पशु कुकुरहरूलाई नियन्त्रण गर्ने लगायतका यसका लागि सरकारले रेबिज विरुद्धको औषधि उपचारको लागि व्यवस्थापन गरिदियो भने यसको न्यूनीकरण गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने लाग्छ.
रेबिज रोकथामको लागि हामीले विभिन्न औषधहरू लगायत भ्याक्सिनहरू हामीले स्थानीय सरकार सम्बन्धित सरकारहरूबाट हामीले यदि सहजै उपलब्ध पायौँ भने यसलाई सहजै हामीले रोकथामको लागि गर्न सक्छौँ जस्तो मेरो.
International news coming up next, but before that, a quick look into the headlines once again. Nepal's Election Commission begins printing sample ballots for March 5 election. Around 1 million sample ballots to be printed in first phase. Nepali Congress decides to forge alliances with other parties for the National Assembly election. Candidate selection to be finalized on Wednesday. Nepal approves ethanol blended petrol after 17 years of delay. Move aims to boost clean energy, local farming and cut fuel imports. Armed police patrols streets of Venezuela's capital. Dozens of military checkpoints installed across the city. Thailand accuses Cambodia of violating a 10-day-old truce, saying cross-border mortar fire wounded a soldier. And Nepal announces 15-member squad for ICC T20 World Cup 2026 under Rohit Podar's captaincy. 2 new faces added. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado says the arrest of Nicolas Maduro is a huge step for humanity, for freedom and human dignity. Speaking to Fox News hours after Maduro appeared in a New York court, Nobel Peace Prize laureate Machado says she's grateful for U.S. President Donald Trump's actions.
January 3rd will go down in history as the day justice defeated a tyranny. It's a milestone, and it's not only huge for the Venezuelan people and our future, I think it's a huge step for humanity, for freedom and human dignity. I spoke with President Trump on October 10th, the same day the prize was announced. Not since then, but I do want to say today, on behalf of the Venezuelan people, how grateful we are for his courageous vision, the actions, historical actions he has taken against this narco-terrorist regime to start dismantling this structure and bringing Maduro to justice, which means that 30 million Venezuelans are now closer to freedom, but also that the United States of America is a safer country nowadays.
Machado had left Venezuela last month to accept the Nobel Peace Prize for a fight against what the Norwegian Nobel Committee called a dictatorship. She hasn't returned since. Now, around 50 farmers from the Coordination Rural Union blocked road access, setting two large fires of tires and branches to draw attention to their grievances. The protesters cited the increasing constraints on agriculture and the perceived inaction of politicians as the main reasons for the demonstration. Yannick Borden, president of the Marche Coordination Rural Union, stated the farmers would remain on the motorway until the police and riot police forced them to leave. Authorities have deployed police and riot control units to monitor the situation and manage traffic disruptions. Local officials urged motorists to seek alternative routes while the protests continued. This demonstration highlighted ongoing tensions between farmers and the government over agricultural policies, regulations and economic pressures affecting rural communities. Now, China has officially opened its annual Harbin Ice and Snow Festival in Heilongjiang province, marked by fireworks and a large-scale drone show over illuminated ice sculptures. The opening drew thousands of local and international visitors to see the massive structures made from ice blocks cut from the Songhua River, one of the country's largest winter tourism events. The festival showcased ice and snow sculptures, lighting displays and seasonal activities. Officials say it is expected to draw millions of visitors throughout the winter, supporting tourism and local businesses. Organizers report that safety measures, including temperature checks and crowd control, are in place. The festival runs through February and includes nightly light shows, ice slides and cultural performances. We'll go for another break here. We have business news coming up next. Stay with us.
US President Donald Trump says the US oil industry could be up and running with increased operations in Venezuela within 18 months after a surprise military operation removed President Nicolas Maduro from power. In his interview to NBC News, Trump said that a tremendous amount of money will have to be spent and the oil companies will spend it and then they'll get reimbursed through revenue. Trump also has been explicit about his ambitions for American petroleum companies to scale up their operations in the country. Meanwhile, representatives from major US petroleum companies plan to meet the Trump administration later this week, as per news reports. Nestlé is recalling specific batches of its SMA, Biba, and non-infant formula and follow-on formula in countries across Europe due to the potential presence of a toxin that could lead to nausea, vomiting, and abdominal cramps. The widespread product recall, which began on a smaller scale in December, is a headache for new Nestlé CEO Philippe Navratil, who is trying to kickstart growth with a company-wide portfolio review after a period of management turmoil. The Kit Kat Nescafe maker said late on Monday that no illnesses or symptoms had so far been confirmed in connection with any of the products recalled. Nestlé recalled batches of its SMA, Biba, and NAN products in Austria, Denmark, Finland, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Switzerland, and Britain, warning of the possible presence of cerulite, a toxin produced by some strains of the Bacillus cereus bacterium. A Nestlé spokesperson said on Tuesday that following the detection of a quality issue with an ingredient provided by a leading supplier, the company had undertaken testing of all the arachidonic acid oil and corresponding oil mixes used in the production of its potentially impacted infant nutrition products. China's flagship carrier Air China said on Tuesday it would sell 108.1 million shares, representing about a 1.61% stake in Cathay Pacific Airways for a total of $1,169.57 million. After completing the sale, Air China will hold around a 27.11% stake in Cathay Pacific, though that will rise to 29.98% after the Hong Kong carrier completes a planned buyback of a stake owned by Qatar Airways. Cathay Pacific Airways CEO Ronald Lam said on Tuesday that Air China's decision was a tactical move. Cathay Pacific also said it expected strong second-half financial results, with its 2025 full-year earnings set to exceed the 9.89 billion Hong Kong dollars profit reported in 2024. Shares of Cathay Pacific, which have jumped more than 35% over the past year, were down about 2% today. NVIDIA unveiled its latest artificial intelligence platform on Monday, aiming to maintain its leadership in supplying the high-performance chips driving the global AI industry. The company, currently the world's most valuable by market capitalization, showcased the new Vera chip at the annual Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang described the chip as a major advancement, highlighting improvements in single-threaded performance, memory capacity, and overall processing power. The new platform is expected to support more complex AI models and applications, reinforcing NVIDIA's position in the competitive AI hardware market. It is said the launch comes as demand for AI chips continues to grow rapidly, with technology companies worldwide seeking more efficient solutions for machine learning and generative AI workloads.
Time now for sports update. As part of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2026 Trophy Tour currently underway in Nepal, the World Cup trophy has been taken to Pokhara. The trophy was first displayed at the Pokhara Cricket Ground and later showcased at Peowa Lake. Under the Trophy Tour program in Nepal, it will be made for public display in Bodhanath Stupa area in Kathmandu, a UNESCO heritage site. Earlier, the trophy was unveiled yesterday afternoon by President Ramchandra Paudel. It was later displayed in the evening during an event organized by the Cricket Association of Nepal, CAN, to unveil the Nepal men's team jersey for the World Cup. This marks the first time the ICC Men's T20 World Cup trophy has been brought to Nepal. Now, Chelsea has confirmed Liam Rose Sr. as the new manager on a 6-year contract. The club says the focus will continue to be on player development and expectation and ambitions remain high. Rose Sr. meanwhile said to be entrusted with this role means the world to him and he will give everything to bring success to the club.
This for me is a club that I will love for the rest of my life, that I will want to do well for the rest of my life. But this opportunity for me is something that I cannot turn down at this moment in my life, for many reasons. One, it's an unbelievable opportunity, an unbelievable club who are Club World Cup champions with an incredible squad, an incredible fan base. Secondly, it means I can go home and see my kids. I'm away from my children. I've missed them, and I wanted to make the sacrifice of not seeing them worth it with the success that we have here.
World number 1 Arina Sabalenka defended her exhibition Battle of the Sexes match with Nick Kyrgios, saying it boosted her fitness and drew attention to tennis. Sabalenka made a strong start to her 2026 season by defeating Spain's Cristina Buquesa 6-0, 6-1 at the Brisbane International, despite criticism of the Dubai exhibition from fellow players.
I don't know what to expect, and that's what I love, because this is the feeling, you chase when you play sport, is this unpredictable situation, let's say like that, and I love to challenge myself. For me, it's a huge challenge, especially playing Nick, the guy who's unpredictable.
My strength has always been unpredictability, even on the men's tour, and guys like Novak and Federer and Nadal, like they've struggled with not understanding how to play me at certain times, because I don't even know what I'm going to do at certain times. So I'm going to try and bring something that she hasn't seen before.
Now the weather updates, first from Nepal and from around the world. Before wrapping up, let's take a look into the headlines once again. Nepal's Election Commission begins printing sample ballots for March 5 election. Around 1 million sample ballots to be printed in first phase. Nepali Congress decides to forge alliances with other parties for the National Assembly election. Candidate selection to be finalized on Wednesday. Nepal approves ethanol blended petrol after 17 years of delay. Move aims to boost clean energy, local farming and cut fuel imports. Armed police patrol the streets of Venezuela's capital. Dozens of military checkpoints installed across the city. Thailand accuses Cambodia of violating a 10-day-old truce, saying cross-border mortar fire wounded a soldier. And Nepal announces 15-member squad for ICC T20 World Cup 2026 under Rohit Paudil's captaincy. 2 new faces added. That is all for the moment. Do join us through our social media and visit us at www.nepaltelevision.com for more information and news. I am Iprilagi Singh Lama. Thank you for watching. Good night.